Well, been a minute since we had the face cam. Great day until a couple of hours ago. Oh, do tell what happened, Stephen. I've been fighting technology for the past hour, and in my case, technology usually wins. Unwelcomely so. I was planning on jumping right back in Skyrim as per the usual, you guys, and my old Roxio capture card just straight up is refusing to work. Gotta make sure this microphone's even working. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Sliced your finger on the dehydrator. You dehydrated your finger. Hope it didn't get infected. Went to your cousin's bridal shower today and had to take a nap after. Didn't expect it to make me so tired. I'm tired too. I've been arguing with technology for the past hour and I'm sick of it, so I had thought about possibly doing a just chatting type stream. I was planning to save that for some time later, but here we are, unexpectedly doing it tonight. If I look a little crazy-eyed and tired, it's because I'm tired. On top of it, there's got to be a better way to prop this phone up where I can talk with you guys and actually face the camera. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well tonight. Hope technology is being nicer to you than it is to me. Pull up a picture of Zach Speaks. I don't know what that means. Hope everyone is doing well. Skyrim horror mod. Bandage and pressure on it since you sliced your finger open. Okay. 40-minute drive both ways. Holy cow. Highly caffeinated, authentic Turkish coffee, and it's safe to say you will not sleep tonight. Oh, possibly you and me both. Where'd I put that V8? Strawberry banana V8. So, at the moment, it looks like no gameplay, no Skyrim tonight, and I apologize for that, but my old Roxio capture card, which normally works perfectly, has just flipped me both middle fingers tonight. Talked with your sister and that went great. Okay, good. Another YouTuber, not to be mean, but you're almost the Temu version, but better. False knowledge. Coffee way too much, but still fell asleep. You're drinking the wrong coffee. This isn't coffee. Quite a few people in a kind of small space. It was warm inside and everyone was talking kind of loud. That's emotionally and physically exhausting, I feel ya. Hello, mystery. V8 battery, not a treat. Oh. To call your mother to come check on it because they needed to make sure a trip to urgent care wasn't necessary. Oh, boy. So, again, I apologize for the lack of gameplay tonight, everyone, but wrestling with technology, and in my case, technology usually wins. Technology famously hates me. Technology and I famously do not get along. Echelon has an armed golfer flavor. Friend told you his sister thinks I'm a 40-year-old man. Most people think I'm immature and still like Hot Wheels and Legos. Wait, that's actually true. Aren't you a 58-year-old mushroom? Oh. Tech is hard to get along with. Yes, especially in my case. So, yeah, whatever. Let's just hang out and chat for a while. At least I get to verify the face cam still works. It's been a while since I used it. Maybe we'll be joined by Dusty and we'll get to see Dusty on camera. Tech issues suck. Yes. Yes, they do. They are unbelievably annoying and frustrating and... Getting breakfast soon. Ooh. Well, I'm just the opposite. After I stream for a while tonight, I'm gonna have anti-breakfast, also known as a late-night snack. So... Till I figure out where the gremlin in the system is, I do apologize for the lack of Skyrim or any gameplay whatsoever. Hope everybody had a good Saturday, other than slicing your fingers and being emotionally and physically exhausted. Undiagnosed. Oh. As in like the loop earplugs? Yeah, my sister swears by those things. The thing you have in the morning is a cup of coffee. I'm not far behind you. I'm not a breakfast person. I'm generally not a coffee person, so usually it's a can of this in the morning. And a can of this when I'm not ready to go to sleep at night. Hey. Hello, Talon. Talon, tech issues, so firing up the face cam for the first time in a while. Flying up to Minnesota on the 1st. I hope that goes well. Agreed with airports. They're crowded. They're noisy. I feel like the layout is almost intentionally confusing. Stronger coffee in the morning. The horrors persist. Oh dear. And do tell. Hello, Brad. Brad, as I've been saying to everybody else, I apologize for the lack of gameplay. My capture card that I use for gameplay is just straight up refusing to work. Even though it powers up, it lights up, my computer detects it, and yet it is just not letting me capture gameplay tonight. So, somewhere in the system is a gremlin that I need to try and find. I've been trying to find it for the past hour and have so far been unsuccessful, so I apologize for the lack of gameplay. Recommended them to her after she started getting overwhelmed with the very loud mega church. Oh, okay, yeah. When this lasts before we run out of things to say. Your dad's going to Florida. Oh, condolences to him. He's coming to my hot, humid home state. Good to take a break of sorts. Yeah, let's just hang out and chat. The horrors persist. I'm intrigued, but also kind of scared to know what you mean by that, Talon. Do tell. Boy, my arm's going to get tired. I'm going to have an arm rest. Sitting in this gaming chair for the first time in several weeks with a very robust pillow behind my back this time. And so far it's working. So far it is not setting me off, giving me back pain. A bit tired. Relatable. Even after the nap. Relatable. You're the one pulling up Skyrim first. Sometimes that's me. Or oftentimes that's usually me. Been watching fellow British dad reacts, and it's reminding me that America is pretty freaking awesome. Well, I feel like the world's opinion of us has improved a little since they have come here for the World Cup and discovered the miracle of ranch dressing. So I think that'll help our status the world over. Looking like like Abe Lincoln. They got the free space. Don't let the loudest ruin it for the rest of us. Agreed. You all take naps? On occasion, yes. Naps are life-changing. Do I watch anime? No, it's not really my thing, to be honest with you. I don't watch much of anything, to be honest. Other than watching videos on YouTube. I definitely don't watch much TV in general anymore. Again, that's since Mythbusters ended. Now 10 years ago this year. 10 years ago, Mythbusters ended. That's scary. Gonna go to bed early, which works out because you have to work at 8 tomorrow. Understandable. Humid. Yes. Florida, it's humid, it's rainy, it's hot. We have 6-month-long summers here. We officially make the transition from cold to hot in May, and it stays that way until November. Exploded what now, Talon? Tend to fall asleep here. It's a recliner. Mythbusters ended a decade ago. Yes, 2016 the final season aired. I know they tried to bring it back sometime later with new hosts. Doesn't count. No Adam, no Jamie, no Carrie, no Tori, no Grant, no Mythbusters. Only imposters. Counterfeits. Recommendations for a series or so films, let me know. Caffeine is everything. Agreed. Hey, anything and everything people want to recommend checking out in the chat, please do. Some espresso and a cup of hot chocolate with your already caffeinated body. Ooh. Careful, you'll be able to see through time. Forgot how amazing we are sometimes. Again, hey, ranch dressing. Is there a way I can prop up this phone so it's like I'm looking at you while I chat with you? Or is the font gonna be too small if I do this? I'm an old man with old geezer eyes. Let's see, can I roll up closer? Surely I can. Surely I can't. I can, and don't call me Shirley. I'll forget it. In the US and other countries across the world paint everything in the USA as evil. Not ranch dressing. Ranch dressing's not evil. Once consumed 2,000 milligrams of caffeine and I'm willing to work on the ranch. Being trash in your unhumble opinion? It's okay to be wrong. 2,000 milligrams of caffeine, though, like in one day. Recommended daily limit by doctors is 400 milligrams in one day, so 2,000's just a little over. Just a little over if you do the math. A guy I used to work with years ago told the story of how he drank 15 cans of Mountain Dew in one night. And the first question I asked him was, how are you still alive? And he said, that's the first question everybody asks me when I tell them that story. I was like, yeah, because caffeine, high fructose corn syrup, and brominated vegetable oil. I'm amazed 15 cans of Mountain Dew in one night is survivable. Ranch is gross. Blasphemy. Princess Mona, I don't know how to pronounce it. Can't say that I have. In one day, it was actually in the span of 3 hours. Oh yes, hello Kaya. First time in a while I've fired up the face cam. The capture card I normally use to capture gameplay is just straight up refusing to work tonight. It looks like it's working, it powers up, all the lights come on, the computer detects it, and yet it's just not working. This is not the big face reveal. I've shown my face on live stream many times. I don't remember which live stream was the very first one where I used the face cam. But even before that, like a decade ago, I already showed my face in a video or 2 years ago. That was a long time ago, though, so I'm not going to say which video. It's like a scavenger hunt. If you can search far enough back, Far back enough, far back enough, far enough back. If you can search far back enough, you can find the very first video where I showed my face, but it's been a minute. It's been a great minute. Hello, Valen! Missed your face. You look great. Thank you. I look like... Someone told me I look like Tom Green, and I never forgave her for it. I'm no particular fan of Tom Green. Favorite quote about the U.S. is that it's been echoed a lot recently. If you want to hate the U.S., watch the news. If you want to love the U.S., travel there and see it for yourself. Yeah, it's the news media and the government making a bad impression the world over. If somebody comes here and shakes hands with and meets Americans, as the World Cup has taught us, you can still come here and have a great time and then get in trouble with customs when you try to take a bunch of ranch dressing home with you. Just don't travel to Ohio. No. Go straight to Ohio if it's roller coasters you want, because you have Kings Island and Cedar Point there. It's my dad's old home state. I go for the roller coasters and to see my relatives, and there's actually some really pretty countryside up there, but a lot of people don't like the countryside. They look at the empty countryside and just see a state with nothing to do. So when people say don't go to Ohio, I kind of understand where they're coming from. I will say, for certain things, go to Ohio. For nothing, go to Cleveland. Don't go to Cleveland. Look up the fake Cleveland attempted tourism videos if you haven't seen them. Those videos are very short, but very, very funny. First time you saw your face. Hello. Here I am in all my midness. I would tell you to get my good side, but I don't have a good side. Might need the DeLorean from Back to the Future to find that video. Post-Reagan thing that has defined our biggest issues. When Bergman mentioned the princess, the name is Mon, as in Pokemon, as in turn on the lights. Okay, as in okay. Okay. Or okay. 3 monsters and like 9 or 10 caffeine pills containing 200 milligrams each. Getting like 2 hours of sleep during that time. Some government officials wanted to put a pipeline from a data center near one of your favorite parks, Eagle Creek, and pollute the park with waste from the data center. How's Dusty? She's great. She was just in here not that long ago. She went out to the kitchen to have her cat food dinner, and she hasn't been back, which tells me she's probably settled into her other favorite chair in the living room. Dude's got a lot of good sides. Who are you talking about? Surely not me. Well, you started the face cam on live stream. Okay. Trying to remember what stream that was. It's been a month or two. Been a couple of months. Boyfriend is watching Stargate SG-1. Yeah, my 2 younger brothers used to watch that show a lot. When I was a teenager, I wanted explosions and gunshots and action. I didn't have the patience for that show, so in hindsight, I probably didn't give it a fair chance. I need to rewatch it. See if it's better than I remember. Nothing's stopping you from taking flammables and a spark to your local data center. That sounds like anarchy. Flammables and a spark. I posted a short of my old BD jet lighter the other night. I don't know if the fan's noisy on the microphone. I'm going to get up for just a second, turn the fan off, and see if I can't put my hands on the jet lighter. Because you mentioned flammables. Dang pillow. I have a fairly robust pillow for back support, so the gaming chair doesn't mess me up like it seemed to do before. Could have just been the way I slept the night before, and then I blamed it on the gaming chair. Use the gaming chair as a scapegoat. Once again, ready to face the goal. Few bottles of Jack Daniels and a lighter. Bamboo is fast growing and is very hardy. Great to plant around data centers. The rumor was they were looking at possibly putting a data center in my county in Florida, And the community is just pushing back and telling all of our officials, no! Have any more artifacts like that incredible lighter? Don't be afraid to show them off. I will never ever smoke as long as I live, but I have a bunch of cool lighters. I have a bunch of Zippos. We have the BD Jet lighter right here, which I will demonstrate once again on live stream. I have a bunch of knives from all over the world. I have a whole box of just my international collection of traditional knives. Zippos, the BD. I have an old Imco lighter from Austria. That lighter was made in Austria, but was very popular amongst British RAF pilots for some reason. Her Majesty's Royal Air Force. Artifacts. So, hopefully the pushback against the data center in my area sticks. I wish I could purge the world of AI in data centers. Right now they're ruining literally everything. Literally every aspect of our life is going to be ruined. Cost of everything's going up. More and more jobs are being replaced or filled by machines, and machines are replacing people who were doing those jobs before, and that's sick. That sucks. That's disgusting. Have a harmonica from the early 1900s and the 1920s that you don't play because it almost definitely has lead poisoning in it. Lighters are just... Yep. Oh yeah, lighters are cool. Need more Zippos. Have a lot of candles because worship and prefer them to overhead light. Data centers are so wasteful, yes, of water and electricity. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to look at chat for a second. I'm going to set my phone down. I'm going to see if I can demonstrate the BD Jet lighter on live stream without injuring myself. All right, so if you didn't see the short, you have a wick like in a regular liquid fuel lighter, and there is this little nozzle thing with a tiny pinhole in the end, which itself has a wick. It goes down inside the fuel reservoir. So if you hold the lighter level, you have a regular upright flame like any liquid fuel lighter. But when you tip it, the fumes from the fuel come out of a little pinhole in the nozzle, shoot through the flame of the already lit wick, and thus for several seconds you have a projected flame, almost like a tiny flame or a tiny flamethrower or a blowtorch. AI is poison and a parasite. Agreed. All right, let's see if I can demonstrate this without injuring myself or lighting the camera on fire or just melting the camera. That would be funny. Watch me have a very literal meltdown on stream. Okay. Come on. Oh. Okay. Can we demonstrate? Whoa. If that's not cool, I don't know what is. Boom. So, if you didn't see the short, I posted the other night, the idea was it would shoot that long flame down into the bowl of a pipe. If you're a pipe smoker, you're in a suit and tie, a fine smoking jacket, sitting by the fireplace, playing the fiddle, thinking deep philosophical thoughts, and you smoke a pipe. The idea was it would shoot the flame down into the bowl of the pipe and make your pipe easier to light. Probably used by World War soldiers, probably. It's kind of like a tiny blowtorch and how it works. Hello, Horston. Horston, were you already in here? Price of Xbox consoles is going up by $100 by August 1st. Also, hello, Joe. AI crap really sucks for us gamers. Agreed. It'll be great for working in the mines, as long as there's not a gas leak and the whole mine blows up. What one? Yeah, I bought this one back in 2019. Somebody was selling it secondhand on eBay, and it's in mostly good condition. It's a little scratched up, especially on the bottom. Maybe you can see that. I don't know if the lighting's gonna... Camera gonna focus so you can see that? Probably not. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. I think back in 2019, I paid about $50 for that lighter, so they're not cheap if you do find them, even in halfway decent condition like this one is. They are out there, though. Playing Skyrim right now, Lucian just saw his first werewolf. Regretting the amount of caffeine you had today. Yeah. The Flammenwerfer. Charlie Daniels later. Well, again, we're unexpectedly just chatting tonight, since I can't seem to get my capture software working properly. They likely don't make those lighters anymore. Oh no. This one was made from the mid-40s until 1961, I believe. I don't know if there's any way. There's no serial number as far as I can tell. Just a couple of patent numbers. BD Jet Lighter, made in USA, and a couple of patent numbers. Maybe there's some way to tell what year mine was made. Huh. Practically tweaking on caffeine right now. I wouldn't be surprised if you could see through time and possibly see sound waves in the air at this point. Can you look back in time and talk to your ancestors? Did I see your comment on stream, Chaos and One at Skyrim 112? I don't think I did. I'd have to go back and check. Sometimes if a comment is worded in a way that YouTube thinks is even a little bit questionable, they flag it. They hide it from everyone except you. So on your end, it looks like the comment got posted when really nobody else can see it. And that's very annoying. They ought to put a little exclamation point and a little yellow triangle to let you know your comment's been moderated. Sturban finally decided to release the rain from his area of the state, and it rained here today. I wish it would pour down torrential rain here. It is so hot in Florida here right now. If your card works during the stream, what will you do? I don't know. I don't know that we're going to find out if it works during the stream. The other more basic capture card that I use for the face cam works fine. That capture card does not work with my Xbox for some reason. Got a second crucible for melting metal. This new crucible is strictly going to melt copper. Oh, cool. Seen the time knife, which we've all seen. Takes about 3,600 milligrams of caffeine before you unlock time, at least for me. Oh. Don't explode yourself. Ah, Valen relatable. Sometimes my Skyrim crashes. If you're not modding it until it crashes, are you really playing Skyrim? Been looking at a new knife to add to your collection. What's a good one that I really like? I like the knives produced by the Cognier family in France. The famous Duke line of knives. That's D-O-U-K, D-O-U-K twice. Duke. Those are weirdly named knives with an oddly weird history, but they're very thin and flat. The handle's made out of a single stamped piece of metal that's folded over, so it's very thin and flat, and you have a flat ground carbon steel blade that folds into the handle. Back in a bit. Have to go to work. All good, Talon. Get back to us when you can. Oh, playing a different game. Okay. Well, I still relate because sometimes Skyrim crashes. Inigo says hello in your game. Hello back. Tell Inigo I miss him. I was hoping to hang out with him and all the gang tonight. But technology won't let me. Hope I can find the gremlin in the system. I don't know what's going on tonight, you guys. Modded Skyrim so hard your computer crashed with a resource exhaustion. Wow. Hello, Sinister. Sinister technology hates me, so at the moment I'm not streaming gameplay. We're just hanging out and chatting. Fired up the face cam for the first time in forever. 3,600 milligrams of caffeine is nothing. I beg to differ. Drank about 5 liters of Skooma once and had to build an exact replica of Stonehenge. 34 miles north of Flagstaff, Arizona. Oh, was that the one made out of old Cadillacs? I think they call that one Car Hinge. Or apparently you call it car hinge if you're the one who built it. Don't mind one bit. I was planning on doing a just chatting sort of stream eventually. I wasn't planning on it being tonight. That was an idea I had in the back of my head that I was saving for later. Well, see if I can demonstrate the BD jet lighter one more time. That was you, Horston. Ladies and gentlemen, the builder of Car Hinge, everyone. Yay, Horston. Okay. BD jet lighter. And now the vent from the air conditioner is blowing on it. Might have to try it again in a little bit when the AC kicks off. We'll put a bookmark on that for now. Really wish you could send pics sometimes, because on one hand you want to show your cat and you want to show your swords. I was just about to say, yeah, you could, if you're able to do community posts on YouTube, you could certainly post photos there. Where are the other lighters I've got? I have a bunch of lighters. That lighter is the storm that is approaching, yes, provoking in black clouds and isolation and so on and so forth. I'm quite sure its family crest is in fact a demon of death. All right, where's the rest of the lighters? Dang pillow. Dang pillow conforming to the laws of gravity. All right, do I have the other lighters handy? Okay. Here's the teeniest, tiniest, littlest lighter in my whole collection. Very convenient for just carrying in your pocket and whipping out should someone happen to need a candle lit, or you're camping, someone needs to light their campfire, and you reach into your back pocket next to your wallet and you pull out this. Very handy, very convenient, this thing. It's obvious, pocket-friendly size. Just kidding, I'm shrinking, send help. Just kidding. Okay. Okay. Bunch of Zippos that everybody and their neighbor has seen, so. Here's the IMCO. Where is... Aha. That looks like a novelty whiskey flask. To say goodbye to your uncle soon. He and his daughters will be headed back to Wyoming tomorrow morning. Nice to plug his own video. Too nice to plug his own videos. Never heard him once say like and subscribe, except to say that. Also, this stream is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. I'm just kidding. Comically large lighter. Oh, yes. Get the world's largest commercial zip tie. Interested in playing DMC? Don't know. I'm stubborn when it comes to trying new things. Let's see. Okay. Here is the IMCO. Maybe I'll do a short showing this properly close up. Come on, focus. This has an adjustable flame via airflow. You pull this down and there's these slots in the side that let in more or less air, depending on how high or how low you have it set. It doesn't have any fuel in it. No, sick of raid. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. This stream is actually sponsored by Factor. No, I'm not cool enough to have sponsors. Get this man playing Robot Disco Dodgeball. Intriguing game title. Okay, so there's the IMCO. It has this lid on top. Funnily enough, shaped slightly like a toilet seat. You snap the lid open and it's connected directly to the sparking wheel so that it sparks as you pop it open. And again, this doesn't have any fuel in it, but again, the vent for the air conditioning is blowing directly on me. Do I have... Okay, I thought I saw a bottle of lighter fluid. Such a nice lighter. Oh, yes. Looks like a lightsaber hilt partially. Oh, yes. Does YouTube censor the use of $signs? I don't know. If you're trying to post comments with $signs and you don't see anyone responding to them, that is a possibility. There's a Dumbledore's Illuminator. All right. So how this works is your flint and sparking wheel are in the square-shaped side here, and there's a long spring in here that keeps tension on the flint to keep it in contact with the sparking wheel. And then this whole thing pops out here. That's your fuel reservoir with the wick on top. This cap comes off the bottom. So let's put a little bit of fuel in it, see if I can get this to light on stream for demonstrative purposes. Title of this will be Lighting Myself on Fire. See any post with a $sign? Okay. I'm seeing a bunch of $signs, so apparently they don't block comments with $signs. Okay. Fuel cap goes back on. This one's called an IMCO Triplex. Is the camera even going to focus on that? Probably not. Maybe a little bit. IMCO Triplex, Austria. Again, made in Austria, but very popular amongst British RAF pilots. All right, so your fuel reservoir goes back into the casing. I'll leave the air holes all the way open so we can get the biggest, most visible flame, provided I can even get it to light. Come on. Maybe I didn't give the wick long enough to soak up the fuel. $250 on insulting Scatsberry and trying to get him to play Natural Selection too. Wow. You either really like that game and or really enjoy insulting Scatsberry. Gee whiz. Put a little more fuel in the IMCO. It'll either light properly or it'll just explode on live stream. What a way to go. Collect bottle caps. Well, clearly I've collected a few too many lighters in my time. All right, let's try the IMCO again. There we go. Okay, and watch as I slide this sleeve up and down, you can see the flame gets smaller and bigger. It gets fainter and brighter too. So this is a lighter design from the early 20th century. I think it was produced up until the 80s. But this is a design that's potentially over 100 years old, but with an adjustable flame. And then when you're done, you just slap the lid closed on top of the wick and it goes out. Do that one more time. If the camera will focus. Come on, focus. Boom. There's the IMCO. That's another really cool lighter from Austria. Sadly not being made anymore, but if you look for them on eBay, you can find some new old stock, sometimes still brand new in the packaging and unopened. That's called IMCO. It's spelled I-M-C-O. Let me double check myself on that. Yep, I-M-C-O. Drunk and slowly sobering up and looking at who you brought home from the bar. Started your collection. What fun conversations have we missed in the past 15 minutes? Talking about lighters. All right, the AC just went off, so we can try the jet lighter again for anyone who missed it earlier. Come on, jet lighter, do the thing. Oh! I hope the microphone's picking up the sputtering, almost roaring noise this makes. There's the BD jet lighter. My personal favorite lighter from my collection. Let's see. This one is a promotional one for a business for a M&M Instrument Co. or no, and K&M Marine Sales in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Southport, wherever Southport is. Old promotional lighter. It looks like a Zippo, but it's not. It's something similar-ish to a Zippo. Who made this one? Brown and Bigelow. Brown and Bigelow lighter. Instead of a chimney with air holes for, well, airflow, it has just one large round hole by the wick. I assume so you could stick a cigarette in there, you know, a death stick. You want to buy some death sticks? You don't want to sell me any death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks. Anyway, the bottom slides off, and you put fuel in the bottom of it just the same as on a Zippo. Collect flasks. Collect the metal tabs on soda cans. Like spraying it with a really tiny can of spray deodorant. Pretty much. Collected license plates once. I have a few license plates, but most of them are novelty, like vanity ones. Okay, let's see if we can put a little bit of fuel in the Brown and Bigelow and get it to light without blowing myself up. Interesting how the lid doesn't open at a super obtuse angle, like on a Zippo. The lid just opens at a 90-degree angle relative to the body of the lighter, and that's it. Got a few cigar lighters with the cigar cutters. I will never ever smoke as long as I live, but whatever, I had this one anyway. So your lid opens 90 degrees relative to the lighter. And then just the same as a Zippo, when you're done, you close the lid. So there's the Brown and Bigelow. It looks similar to a Zippo, but is not as common as a Zippo. I found this at an antique store that is sadly no longer in business. I was sad when that place closed. That was the largest antique store in the entire state of Florida. Found some neat old kerosene lanterns there, and found a cool lighter or two. Also collect wheat pennies. I have one or two of those myself. Want to go home and rethink your life? You want to go home and rethink your life? I want to go home and rethink my life. Besides hats, you also collect various Fallout-themed items. The Death Sticks guy has a whole expanded universe story that ends with him going home and rethinking his life. Hey! Alright. Then what other few lighters I have are mostly just Zippos, nothing particularly unique. I have one other wackadoo lighter that you might not have seen yet. This looks like a death stick. And this is actually made to, once you've smoked one cigarette out of a pack, this slides in there amongst your remaining cigarettes. Believe it or not, this is a lighter. It looks like a little metal cylinder because it kind of is. It opens up. Some sources call this the nunchuck lighter, and you have a wick and a sparking wheel with a flint. This is oftentimes incorrectly advertised as being airtight, and thus it doesn't let the fuel evaporate out of it once you fill it up. But I find this isn't very airtight. The fuel can evaporate out of this after just a few days, the same as a Zippo. All right, see if I can get the tight little fuel cap off of this. Looks like it takes a flathead driver. Fortunately, I have my little Nix tool in my pocket. Not a paid endorsement, that's just what I have in my pocket. $10 bill from the 1930s, stored away somewhere. One of your brothers made a table design with the caps off the tops of beer bottles. Man, try not to burn your beard. Your glorious beard. I wasn't aware I had a glorious beard, thank you. Thought I just had a mediocre beard at best. Okay. The bottom is cut for a flathead screwdriver. So let's take the flathead on our next tool. There we go. All these lighters are cool, but the blah, 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 all these lighters are cool, but a Zippo was the best one to use. Agreed. Zippos, a lot of people don't realize, often work in environments where a butane lighter won't work. When it gets cold to a certain temperature, the butane in a regular disposable lighter no longer wants to evaporate or ignite. Those lighters tend to stop working when it's extremely cold. You don't have that problem with a liquid fuel lighter, like, say, a Zippo or something similar. All right, let's see if we can get the little nunchuck lighter to work. Like a lot of people at my old job, a lot of these lighters, getting them to work is difficult. Anyway. I think I poured a little too much fuel that time. I better give the overflow a little bit of time to evaporate so I don't actually light myself on fire. His beard is quite glorious. Why, thank you. Remember fantasizing about having a beard that dragged along the floor when you were 15? Hey, Mang, are you allowed to show boomsticks on YouTube, or will you get in trouble for that? I am not sure. I was able to show my Lego ones before, and YouTube didn't have anything to say. I know YouTubers like Kentucky Ballistics, Hickok45, Brandon Herrera, and Such can do videos on boomsticks, cordless hole punches, but oftentimes I think they get demonetized, and the only way they can generate revenue from making those videos, even if they get millions of views, is to have a link to their Patreon or something. Zippo doesn't seem to work when windy despite the advertisement. Guns are allowed from what you've seen. It'd probably be all right to show them and talk about them, but I'm sure actually firing them on live stream would be a no-no. I know that can get you kicked from off of I know that can get you kicked off of Twitch. Or at least suspended from Twitch. Don't let the cat in. It's a trap! If I hear Dusty pawing up the door, I'm going to let her in. All right. Make sure I don't have any lighter fluid on my hands. Can we light the nunchuck lighter without instantly bursting into flames? Yes, we can. There's the nunchuck lighter. And then when you're done, you can either close it like so, or what I've seen most people opt to do is just blow it out like a candle. Just not very, this one's, a Zippo is only kind of windproof, as you have stated. This is not in any way windproof, unfortunately. It's cool, it's a neat design, very compact, but definitely not airtight as advertised. I find the fuel still evaporates out of this after a few days, just the same as a Zippo. If it was truly airtight, this would be a great one to keep on your person. Don't smoke. Smoking sucks. Smoking will send you to an early grave. There's other purposes for lighters. Other purposes than smoking. Thumbnail for this video was hilarious. Was it the sweet roll? Is that lighter's name Mikey? I'm trying to get the joke. And then finally, I thought I saw my little... Aha! Where'd I put the... Okay. I joked earlier, this is the smallest lighter I have. Here is the actual smallest lighter I have. This one's called the Peanut. Yeah. The lid unthreads, and you have a little tiny sparking wheel and wick in there. This one likes to seize up and... Okay, it's working now. I've had to get into the tube for the flint and unclog it with a drill bit on more than one occasion because the flint just disintegrated like it was under too much spring tension or something. So this lighter likes to be a little tiny pain in the butt. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh! One of many shows I wasn't allowed to watch. Anyway. Okay. The thing about this little tiny lighter is it only takes a little tiny amount of fuel. This one is sealed with an O-ring and actually can, in my experience, be filled once and still be able to light and produce a usable flame months later. Unlike a Zippo, definitely unlike the little nunchuck lighter I just showed you. Wish you could share these pics in comments. Well, you can probably post them in the form of community posts right here on YouTube. So anyway, the idea is this O-ring around the body of it. Come on, focus. This O-ring seals it up and keeps it airtight. And you unthread the lid and boom, you have a little tiny lighter producing an air conditioner just kicked back on. A decent sized, actually usable flame. Never participated in the Devil's Lettuce because you took the dare seriously. A use for lighters aside from smoking to start illegal fires in toilet paper warehouses. We're overworked and underpaid. I'm going to put everybody in this building out of a job. Makes sense. So there's the peanut lighter. So if we compare the two, you could see one of these lighters is just a little tiny bit bigger than the other. I would demonstrate this gargantuan one, but it takes a lot of fuel to get it to light, and then the flint in this is definitely seized up. I can't turn the sparking wheel at all. Have to work on that and get it unclogged. But this does actually light. It does work. Just takes an awful lot of lighter fluid. Ah. Thinking of switching to edibles. Ooh. My sister would like to have a talk with you. Share pics of it in comments. Never participated in Devil's Lettuce. Firecracker in the toilet. Or a cherry bomb in the school toilet. Only when they don't pay workers living wage here. As if the owner doesn't have the money to get more, yes. What's funny is you're thinking about that warehouse fire guy earlier today. Hello, General Kenobi, you are a bold one. Reading your thoughts. Hee hee hee. Let's see. Oh yes, we were looking for. Take a look at Animus' channel. Oh, unintentionally funny thumbnail. I look like Ryan Gosling's less famous younger brother, Brian. I look like Brian Gosling. I don't know if he actually has a brother named Brian, so if he does, huge coincidence. Sorry to look up at the ceiling and give everyone that view up my nose like that. What's that? QA? QA? What? We are just chatting about anything and everything. I cannot get the capture card for my Xbox, for my gameplay, to work properly, so we're just hanging out and chatting tonight. So apologies everyone who normally enjoys the Skyrim gameplay. That was my plan tonight, but technology flipped me both middle fingers and said, no, you're not. Asmongold's second cousin twice removed. Oh, Asmon Silver? Asmon Bronze? Alright, where is my box of international Knivies? How are you going to get it to work? I don't know. Just like some former co-workers of mine who I looked at and couldn't believe I got hired on, I look at them just like I look at my capture card now and said, how are we going to get you to work? You're doing everything but work. Think about what Moist Critical said about the warehouse guy, that he probably ruined his life by doing that, but I don't understand, Moist understand what third shift does to you. That guy is a complete poop and a fart from a butt. He's a complete turbo goober. Anyway, that's my terrible impression of Moist Critical. Where them knives at? Yeah. Aha! Aha! Uzi? If only. Maybe it's legal to own in Florida. Going to bed. All right, good night, Bart. If Sketch joins, call him a furry. Need to take it to Geek Squad or something like that. Hello, DJ. That guy might have ruined his life, but he saved it from being worse. I don't know. Can I do Wendigoon? Are those Legos? Oh, yes, there's the Lego. Whoops. Actually, let's take a moment to take a look at the Lego stuff that you always see behind me when I am using the face cam. There's Grogu, the Imperial Probe Droid, Stormtrooper helmet, and the Infinity Gauntlet. And in the back behind all of them is my Lego model of the SMG from Halo 3. Posted a video of that about 10 years ago. If you look back through about 10 years worth of videos, or I might have a playlist of just my Lego stuff, you can see the SMG there. And then on the top shelf, we have the Space Shuttle Discovery with the included model of the Hubble Space Telescope. The solar panels not lining up, not being at the same angle annoys me. I'll fix that later. I wonder if I have undiagnosed OCD or something. Thought it was a real gun. That Grogu was awesome. And Uzi. Yes, Legos are awesome. Would like to own a Mac-10. Probably legal in Florida. I could probably only have the semi-auto version. Lame. Had a Lego Space Shuttle that looked very similar to that one years ago. This one I believe was released in 2021, if I remember correctly. Occasionally I remember things correctly. Gonna get off to exhausted. All right, rest well, Brad. Absolutely awesome show. Thank you, thank you. Like you, he'd like the lighters, and I love space and astronomy. Oh, I could talk your ears off about the night sky. Just walked out on the driveway a little while ago and saw my favorite star in the night sky, Vega, rising up to the northeast. Big bluish white star, you can't miss it. That was the first star other than the sun to be photographed by human beings. So that's the first star in the night sky that we photographed. And I believe that was the first star to also have its spectrum and distance from Earth accurately measured. What were we going to do? Let's take a look at my international collection of knives. Keep them all in this plastic bin. Anybody remember what I said I like to do with clipboards? Sometimes I like to pretend this lid is a clipboard. I like to take a clipboard and just... Makes me feel better for some reason. Space is so awesome and amazing, but also extremely terrifying. Man can talk your ear off about Starset. Yes, I can. Again, I have a playlist of all my favorite songs of theirs right here on the channel. I tried to keep it to just my absolute favorite songs of theirs, and still that playlist ended up being 2.5 hours long. Warehouse guy was working with only like 7 other people in a warehouse the size of a football field. Morning, glory and hallelujah. I'm not saying what he did was right. Scientists found Elendil? I misread that as Elmo for a second. Scientists found Elmo. All right. There is a pile of knives in front of me. Let's start out with one I've mentioned on stream before. This may or may not be a legit stiletto switchblade from Italy. Some sources I've read say this might actually be a very high-quality counterfeit / knockoff from Hong Kong. I'm going to bump up the brightness of the studio light a little bit. Can already tell it's not bright enough. Boom. There we go, a little more illumination. So there's the stiletto. Apparently a real one would have brass liners in the handle, and the liners on this one are stainless steel. So there's every chance this is not a legit one from Italy, but it's very high quality. Funnily enough, or I guess sadly enough, this one's actually made better than some legit Italian-made ones I've seen. All right, so you slide this safety down underneath the button, and then, wow. Everyone who I show this to in person thinks it's illegal. Oh, you know that's illegal in Florida, right? No, it's not. This is perfectly legal to own and carry in Florida and most states anywhere near us. There's very, very, very few U.S. states where switchblades are illegal anymore. Night shift hours are usually $1 more than day shift. Suggest you clip your showcases from this stream later when you get the chance. Ooh, I might. Horston Starset is an underrated band. They're my favorite band at the moment. I think they're the coolest band I've ever heard. Anyone who hasn't listened to them, they're a rock band with kind of an electronic space science fiction theme. Perfect for nerds such as myself. Very, very cool band. If you haven't listened to them, consider giving each and every one of their albums a listen, or if you want a condensed version of it, check out that playlist here on the channel. No way your stiletto knife is legit. It looks like it was painted with blue spray paint. Wow. So let's fire the Italian stiletto one more time. Let's do that a little bit closer up so you can see it better. Hope the microphone's picking up the click when the blade deploys. So then to lock it, you have to lift the lock bar off of this locking pin on the spine of the blade. This bolster swivels to lift the lock bar off of the blade, and then you can close the knife. Slide your safety back. As narrow as this is, it's really thick this way because of the deployment button, so to actually put this in your pocket and carry it is surprisingly uncomfortable. Cool knife, but it's a cool knife that I pretty much never carry. Welcome back, Talon. Okay, what else have we got? Ha. Here is the Higo no Kami, traditional knife from Japan. They'll be at the festival they're going to. They're the runner-up for the headliner, I believe, which is... Ooh, cool. Knife safety with mangustification. More like knife obsession, but yeah. All right, here's the Higo no Kami from Japan. It almost looks like an old-fashioned straight razor. You have this tab on the spine of the blade, and the idea is you roll the blade open with your thumb, or I'm going to cheat a little bit and use my finger. And there is the Higo no Kami. That is a traditional old pocket knife pattern from Japan. I don't know how long these have been made. This is not a very expensive knife. I think you'd pay about $13 or $14 for this. If anybody's interested in getting into the knife obsession, be warned, it's easy to get addicted to, but if you're looking for an inexpensive enabler to get you into the hobby, you could do worse than a traditional Higo no Kami from Japan. Really want a katana. Those are so cool. Yeah. Not really a knife, but still. Some people look at it and think it's a straight razor, but it's not. Is the Japanese word for God? I don't know. Starset is actually an alternative rock metal. They also use strings in their songs, mostly violin and cello. Yes, and it sounds amazing. They're my favorite band for a reason. They are super, super cool. Night noise check was just weird. Keep seeing people in your headlights just walking out of the woods. Well, that sounds scary as crap. Keep getting AI ads. Dang AI. Also, you acquired coffee. I've acquired caffeine in a different form, but still caffeine. Not a paid endorsement, but Anybody who likes caffeine but like me, you're too lazy to brew coffee, give that strawberry banana V8 energy a try. It's very, very good. Need to set this down somewhere where I'll see it. Put it on the shelf where the lights are. Batarang double-sided one with the gold blades. Ah. Ah ha ha ha. Okay. Here is the Mercator, the famous black cat made by Otto Messer in Germany. Very, very famous traditional German knife. A lot of people incorrectly believe these were issued to German soldiers in both world wars. Not true. These were never issued as part of their military gear. What would happen was they would buy it themselves and then carry it with all their stuff. So oftentimes these would be found on captured or deceased German soldiers. And a lot of the Allied soldiers thought, oh, the Germans are issued these knives, I guess so. Not true. Common mistake, though. A lot of German soldiers just opted to carry these. Yeah, fairly long carbon steel blade and a primitive version of what we consider to be a lockback mechanism today. And this, like a lot of my favorite knives in this collection, is made out of, or the handle is made out of a single thin folded piece of steel. You see how thin that handle is. This, unlike the stiletto, is actually extremely comfortable to carry in your pocket. Keep getting streams about furries recommended. Strawberry banana is the bomb, yes. They are from some channel called the Scatberry. Intermittent fasting taught you to like the taste of black coffee. Beautifully made, yes. This is a lovely knife from Deutschland, from Germany. I have a couple of different versions of this knife. Let me see if I can find the other one. Gosh, there are so many knives in this box. Well, I thought I had the other one handy. Where is it? Okay, nailed it. Well, gonna have to do some digging to find the other one. Oh well. We'll find it when we find it. Probably better steel than what Germany issued back then, probably. Yeah, whatever they issued probably would have been really soft in favor of being easier to sharpen, but less edge retention. I'm sure whatever they issued got dull faster. All right, another knife from the same company. Here is the Otto Messer Sailor's knife from Germany. Has this long leather lanyard. And this interesting straight edge kind of sheep's foot style blade shape. Another very nice German knife from the same company. Very nice kind of darkly finished wooden handle scales. I don't know how well those are showing up on camera. Very, very cool knife. I haven't carried this one in a while. I need to throw this one in my pocket again and actually carry it with me. Get popcorn or Cheez-Its. I vote both. I think I mentioned in an earlier stream your daily carry is a Benchmade Osborne. Yes. Also have a CRKT KISS. An interesting, very minimalist design. Ah. I'm a little biased toward Cheez-Its, but I do enjoy some good popcorn all the same. Okay, here's the non-locking version of the German Mercator I just showed you. This one's smaller. This one's just a simple slip joint. The blade does not lock in the open position, but that's essentially a smaller version of that same classic, iconic German knife. Again, with a thin, I don't remember if this one has a carbon steel or stainless steel blade. Also made in Germany. Sucker for wooden grips and stocks. Well, stick around. I got a few more wooden-handled knives to show you. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's go to the Czech Republic. There are two famous knives from the Czech Republic. The first one is the Mykov fish knife. And big shock, it's a knife that literally looks like a fish. Hope you can see that okay. And the pivot pin for the blade actually forms the eye of the fish. We have this thin little blade. Once again, I don't remember if this is carbon or stainless steel. Inox, stainless. It's what a lot of European countries call stainless steel, I-N-O-X, inox, or pronounced inox or inox, depending on who you ask. So that's a little stainless steel blade. Famously, people in the Czech Republic use this knife to harvest mushrooms. For what purpose they are harvesting the mushrooms, I don't know. Really thought it was a lure for a second. It could be. It could be. All right. And now, the other famous knife from the Czech Republic, also made by the Mykov company. Ha 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 ha. Ah. We have the Mykov 241 Predator. Unrelated to whoever you've heard about on the news lately, and unrelated to an 80s action movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. So, this has a lever that flips up, and the idea is you put your thumb on this lever and press it downward toward the bolster. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? You look ready, but I don't think you're ready. Are you ready? Wow. And that fires hard when it deploys. It is the glorious Mykov 241. These used to be really inexpensive, but the price has gone way up in more recent times. I bought this a few years ago when it was moderately priced. It's a chunker. Oh yes. Let's deploy that one more time. Wow. Imagine the thumbnail is just me holding a knife and going, holding a knife threateningly toward the camera and going, wow. General Kenobi. Wait, we already said General Kenobi. It is, in fact, a chunker. That's the Mykov 241 from the Czech Republic. That makes a nice thwack when it deploys. Do I have a lightsaber? I do not. I blinked. Do it again. Okay. Don't blink. Don't blink. I'm going to do it with my eyes closed, so don't you blink. No excuse if you blink this time. Did you see it that time? I really should get a proper lightsaber. I hope the microphone is picking up the sound this makes when it deploys. Let's intentionally hold the knife close to the microphone and deploy it without slitting my throat. Hello, Brooke. Brooke, I can't get my capture card for gameplay to work tonight, so we are unexpectedly doing a just chatting stream. Got here late, you've been off chat. All good, all good. So there's the Mykov from the Czech Republic. I actually have two of these. I bought these years ago when they were priced a little bit better. You can get it the traditional way with no pocket clip, like so. Or you can get it with a nice non-traditional pocket clip. I would prefer the clip was at the other end of the handle so it carried this way in the pocket, but oh well. Let's do a double deployment of the Mykovs. Here we go. Careful not to hold them too close together. Timing was off. You saw it? You saw it. Okay, cool. Let's try that one more time. So if you want to read manga or play Minecraft, do both at the same time. Multitask. Look back and forth between the two like this. Hard to do, but let's try that double deployment one more time. Aha, that was, whoops, that was a little better. Messed up the blade deployment. I held this one too loose in my hand. Oh well. The Just Chatting stream 1. Yes, I was thinking about doing it eventually. It wasn't the plan for tonight, though. I'd planned to do more gameplay tonight, more Skyrim as usual. But here we are. We're just chatting, talking about lighters, talking about Knivies. All right, what else do I have here? All right, I have a few different versions of this knife, so we won't go over every single one. But here is the quintessential traditional knife for Europe. This comes from France. Here we have the beautiful, the lovely Opinel. Made out of the handle is made out of a single piece of, I believe, beech wood. You have a metal bolster with a pivot. And we have a nice thin carbon steel blade. You don't want to go, technically you shouldn't use any knife as a pry bar, but you definitely don't want to use this thin little thing as a pry bar. I've sharpened this with my stones and a leather strop and some polishing compound. I got this absolutely screaming sharp. This is another inexpensive knife. When I bought this years ago, this knife was only a whopping $12. The price has gone up since then, but still, compared to a lot of the other knives out there, the Opinel is not terribly expensive. That is the classic French knife right there. Well, one of a couple of classic iconic knives originating from France. It has this bolster that twists to hold the blade open so you can't accidentally close the blade on your fingers. Really cool. So that's another one I would recommend if you're looking to get into the knife hobby for not a lot of money. You would do quite well to get an Opinel. Unintentional rhyme that time. Something hidden in the middle. Check chat. The Mercator K55K was indeed made of better steel and were used as can openers since combat knives would bend or roll the blade. Germany did have canned rations later in the war. Wow. Just Chatting streams first baby steps. Unexpectedly so too. Again, I thought we were going to do gameplay tonight and I would get around to doing a chatting stream eventually. But here we are, unexpectedly doing it tonight. And maybe we'll be doing it until further notice, until I can work the gremlins out of the system, out of the capture software and the capture card. And technology hates me and flipped me both of them tonight. So I have a bunch of different versions of the old classic Opinel knife from France. We don't have to obsessively go over every single one of them. There's the same knife with a walnut handle. There's the beechwood handle. A nice Bubinga wood handle. I believe Bubinga wood comes from Africa. We'll stop for a moment to take a look at this one because, as well as the nice Bubinga wood handle, this has a lovely mirror polished blade. You can actually see the reflection of the camera display in the blade. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful knife. This one was a whopping $20 when I got it years ago. I'm sure the price has gone up since then, if they even still make this version of it. Checking chat, make sure I haven't missed anything. Baba Booey. Yeah, Baba Booey would. All right, we won't obsessively go over every single Opinel knife that I have because I have a bunch of them. Boy, it would be like me to buy a bunch of different versions of the same thing. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay. I have the other famous, we need to 3D print a Minigo to put somewhere in the background. As long as he was posable and I could put him in different positions so I could make it look like he was committing different acts of vandalism in the background. Like one stream he's running away with candy or something, and then another stream he's biting a wire in half or something. If it was a posable Minigo, that would be cool. Minigo should be holding the Lego SMG. Game where we find hidden Minigo in the background of each stream. Should show us one of the bean dishes you love so much. There's not a whole lot to it. I open up a can of black-eyed peas, pour it in a ceramic bowl and microwave it for 2.5 minutes. Sometimes I'll cut up a little bit of sausage or onion and stir it in there with it. Very simple, but very delicious. A good late-night snack that doesn't wreck your stomach. Teach us how to cook a main dish. That is the main dish. You need a ceramic bowl, a can of black-eyed peas, and a microwave, and a little bit of patience for the 2.5 minutes it takes to microwave. That's about all there is to it. It's very delicious, but technically healthy. Except for maybe the sausage. There's an awful lot of sodium in that sausage. Here is the other famous traditional folding knife from France. A little less commonly seen and a little bit more expensive than the Opinel. This is the Nantuan. Nantuan. We have a single piece of wood, a beautiful, I don't remember if this is stainless or carbon. See if I can show you the Nantuan logo. I gotta find the right angle for the reflection. There we go. It looks like it should be pronounced Nontron, but it's pronounced Nantuan. And you see the seal next to it, the crest. It looks like an arch with 3 dots. This knife has been made in France for over 400 years. The design has remained basically unchanged. Ownership of the company that makes them, obviously, over the course of 400 years has changed hands a few times. But the general design of the knife has remained largely unchanged. Like the Opinel, this has a bolster that you twist to hold the blade open. Over the course of said 400 years, the meaning of that seal with the arch and the 3 dots has been lost to history. Nobody knows what it means, what it represents. One on Tron knife now. Depends on how hungry you are at the time you use the spoon. Boy, do you need to cook for me. And a side of scrambled eggs. Oh yes, sometimes I'll make myself scrambled eggs late at night. Looked at your SC knife you got for $15 that you mentioned a few weeks ago. 95% certain it is a real SC Azula. Everything matches what's in website photos. Okay. Life of Boris's Floridian cousin, Life of Mang. So that's the traditional Nantuan knife with the box end handle. I have another version of the same knife with the fishtail handle. There's a few different handle shapes you can get these in. These are the only 2 I have. But there is the same absolutely beautiful traditional knife from France with a fishtail handle. Looks like a rocket or a torpedo or something. Of all the knives I own from France, these might be my absolute favorites. They are absolutely beautiful. Hard to come by here in the United States, unfortunately. Occasionally you'll see one floating around on eBay. Don't think he eats anything else, Kaya. I have frozen pizza sometimes. Nice, unhealthy frozen pizza. Yay! All right, what else do we have? Here is a Martins from Portugal. Similar to the Opinels and the Nantuans I just showed you, we have a single-piece wooden handle, a thin carbon steel blade, and a twisting bolster to hold the blade open. This, if I recall, was also not very expensive. So again, if you're looking to get into the knife hobby, you could do a lot worse for a lot more money than a Martins from Portugal like this one. Really simple, but really neat looking, sleek little knife. Real food. Well, I don't go eating fake food. Let's see. We'll breeze over the other Portuguese knives I have. Here's a couple of MAM knives also from Portugal, same as the Martins. These are also really inexpensive. MAM or Filmam, Filmam. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but these are traditional knives from Portugal that are also really, really inexpensive. I feel like I'm trying to sell everyone on the hobby. It's a great hobby, but it's addictive. Don't know if you said, but which one is your favorite, or have we not gotten to it yet? Do I do any woodwork? Thought about it, never got into it. And I don't know which of these is my favorite. There's a few candidates for my favorite in here. Okay, there's another MAM. This one doesn't even have a locking blade. This one is just held open by tension between the wooden handle and the blade. I think this one was a whopping $9. So if somebody wanted to get more seriously into knives and you want to do better than a piece of crap that you found at a truck stop or a flea market or something, you can do it for actually very little money. Tasty stew imported in a homemade cheddar jalapeno sourdough bread bowl. Oh. Good food doesn't have to be unhealthy. You can have flavor. Agreed. Here's the other version of the Mercator from Germany. This one, instead of the black cat emblem, just has a simple wooden handle scale. Thin little wooden handle scales, just barely inset into the already very thin folded steel handle. So there's the other version of the Mercator knife that I couldn't find earlier. It was just buried under a bunch of other knives. Imagine that. Think you can travel with an SC6 knife on a plane? It would be in a checked bag rather than carry on. Yeah, in a checked bag, it should be fine. Carry on, you'll be branded a terrorist and a bunch of fat security guards will tackle you to the floor. Okay. Here is a famously crudely made knife from South Africa. Here is the Okapi, with its weird ratcheting locking mechanism that you unlock with a split ring on the spine, right where your thumb goes. This was a knife designed for like merchants and fishermen and farmers, but unfortunately is famously used by gangs in South Africa. Most people associate this knife with criminal activity, gang activity, but those who know it was designed for good purposes, legitimate purposes in mind. Really neat inset stars and crescent moons on the handle. Fairly long carbon steel blade with an odd shape. Need to go to Kaya's house so you can eat all her food. Have a knockoff of that one, I remember. You lost it. And then how a lot of people close this is they put their finger through that split ring on the spine and just slap it closed like so. Am I going to be able to do it without injuring myself? Probably not. Did you miss much? No, we're just hanging around talking about knives. All right, there. I'll put my index finger through the split ring. There you go. You can close it that way. So, unfortunately, this one got a bad reputation because of gang activity, but it's still a really neat knife. From South Africa. This is another one that's hard to find here in the United States. They had an official presence and even a US Facebook page for a while, but they didn't take off on the US market, so usually the only way you can buy these in the United States is through an eBay seller who has traveled abroad and brought some back to the States with them and is probably selling them for a large markup. All right, then I have a few different versions of that knife. They make the Okapi knife in a few different blade shapes and styles. You can get them non-locking, and all the other ones I have are non-locking. Here's essentially the same knife, but without the ratchet locking mechanism. Same handle, slightly different blade shape. Same inlays on the handle. And a hair hanging from my hand. That was weird. Fairly large carbon steel blade. And then the same company makes smaller knives too from Okapi in South Africa. I think this is my favorite one that they make. It's kind of medium-sized. No locking mechanism, it's just a slip joint. But yeah, kind of a moderately sized version of the same knife. I've actually carried and used this one. It's actually very comfortable to carry. It's lightweight, fairly thin. These are fairly crudely made. They're not made to look especially pretty. They're made to do work. And they do work. Just showing off knives and lighters. Mystery, I could not get my capture software to work. My capture card is being a bee with an itch. Have I traveled abroad? Or to... Have I what? I'm scared to even know what you mean by that. And then lastly, here's a couple of... Lastly for the Okapis anyway. Here's a couple of smaller knives made by the same Okapi company in South Africa. I quite like this one. This one's nice. I actually used to carry this one on my keychain with the bail. Have a dumb joke. Oh, do tell. I always welcome jokes in chat. Especially the dumb ones. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, this is nice. Similar to the Opinel I showed you earlier, here is the Antonini, aka the Old Bear from Italy. This one is made from olive wood, and you can actually smell the olive oil in the wood. It smells lovely. We have a thin, slicey blade like on the Opinel. And this tab rotates down in front of the blade tang, so once again you can't accidentally close it on your fingers. To close the knife, you pull the tab back, and now the blade will close. I have a couple of different versions of this knife. Here's the larger version of the same thing. Again, single piece wooden handle, a big but fairly thin blade, and the locking tab slides down to hold the blade open so you can't accidentally close it on your fingers. Lovely. YouTube isn't going to take this stream down showing off all the knives, right? As far as I know, they have no problem with us talking about knives. Those cordless hole punches, though, the pew-pews, they might have a problem with, so don't know if I'm going to chance any of those tonight. Also like to collect fountain pens, yes. Why did they name it Oregon? Because all the ore is gone. Interesting how they have so many shapes for a blade, yes. We have a chili in a stream table container if it was moldy today. Ooh. Second time this has happened. Ew. Guns are allowed on YouTube, so probably not, yeah. There's channels like Demolition Ranch that shoot guns. Yeah, Demolition Ranch. And I also highly recommend Hickok 45 and Kentucky Ballistics. All right, I mentioned the Cognier knives from France. We'll go over these really quickly. All right, this was a knife that I believe began production in the 1920s in France. Made for German colonies in North Africa. So we have a French knife made for German colonies in African settlements, or German settlements in African countries. And we have the, it looks like a Christmas tree with legs inlaid on the handle, or engraved and stamped in the handle. The tuk-tuk, as he is called, was a character from Melanesian folklore or mythology who was supposed to be an omen of bad tidings, of trouble. And famously, he would run through your village and just scream his head off in the middle of the night. And that's it. That's apparently all he does. And famously, this knife was used by Algerian street gangs to cut people's noses and ears off. Yeah. The lawsuit is waiting to happen. Hee hee, with the chili mold. From Oregon and well aware of how depleted your ore is. Making sure because we all know how unpredictable YouTube can be. Well, this will be a good test drive for us to find out, I suppose. Thoroughly washed up the container. Yeah. So, we have a French knife made for German colonies in Africa, used by Algerian street gangs, with a Melanesian folklore symbol on the handle. This is a weird knife with a weird history. So we have, again, a fairly thin carbon steel blade. And again, like the Mercator, the handle is made out of a single folded piece of steel, so it's very, very thin in the pocket. As weird as this knife and its story are, it actually carries quite well. I've actually sharpened this to a screaming sharp edge. You can kind of see the edge shining there in the light. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. This takes a terrifyingly sharp edge. Don't even swear I doubt they're watching your streams too hard. Probably not. So there is the Duc, famously made by the Cogniet family in France for close to 100 years. I think these run from about 25 to 30 bucks. They're not terribly expensive. Unlike the Okapi, these are actually easy to get here in the United States. I usually buy these from a select couple of eBay sellers that I trust. If anyone's interested in this knife and you find it for sale from an eBay seller called Survivor Hand, not a paid endorsement, Survivor Hand's just a great place to buy these knives in my experience. Check in chat. Good night, honey stripes rest fantastically well. All right. So here's another knife from the Cogniet family in France. The squirrel knife. At least I think that's supposed to be a squirrel on the handle. Same handle shape, but a more traditional pen or spear blade shape. So if you wanted a knife from the Cogniet family that did not have a weird folklore symbol with a crazy messed up story attached to it, you go for the squirrel knife. I think this is actually my favorite knife from the Cogniet family, which again I have sharpened to an absolutely fearsomely sharp, screaming sharp razor edge. I sharpened this to the point I could touch it to my arm and the hairs on my arm would just float off and float away into the air. This takes a terrifyingly sharp edge. And with slip joint knives like this, it's important not to just let the blade slam closed or else the blade will bottom out and dull itself against the inside of the handle. So what you do is you carefully guide the blade closed and let it close softly like that. Thick blade. It's a little on the thick side, but not so much that it doesn't slice well. Okay. Once dated a girl with a wooden leg, but not for long. I broke it off. One of my favorite jokes is from Stephen Wright, who delivered jokes in a famously deadpan voice. And he said, "I almost had a psychic girlfriend, but she left me before we met." And here's a smaller version of that same squirrel knife from the Cogniet family. So if you live in an area where you can't have a blade longer than 3 inches or whatever, there's a smaller version of the same thing, the squirrel knife. The Cogniet or Duc squirrel knife. Which again, like all the others, I sharpen to a shiny, terrifyingly sharp razor edge. These things take an edge and they slice like you cannot believe. You can actually get these terrifyingly sharp if you know what you're doing. And the last one from the Cogniet family, here is the Vendetta, or Vendaduc, depending on who you ask. With the French island, is Corsica a French island? This triangle shape on the handle is a stylized version of the outline of the island of Corsica, where the Vendetta style knife like this supposedly originated from. That's disputed by some. Some people say they didn't originate from Corsica specifically. They originated from France and from Spain and yada yada. I don't know who's correct. All I know is people associate this style of knife with the island of Corsica. Used to be addicted to the hokey pokey, but you turned yourself around. All right, this one is more sleek and stabby than the others from the Cognier family. Cicero would love this one. Cool design on the blade. Says Corsica on the blade. And like the other Cognier knives, this has a carbon steel blade and a thin handle made out of a single folded piece of steel. So this actually carries quite easily. Corsica is a French island. Okay. Already know what some of your 2027 resolutions will be. 1440p and 4K. Why did the hot dog wear a sweater? So he could be a pig in a blanket. I don't know. And then finally, oh wait. Okay, again, people also associate the Vendetta style knife with Spain as well as France. So here is a Kudaman Vendetta style knife from Spain, also with an olive wood handle, the same as that Antonini I showed you earlier. And you can smell the olive oil in the wood of the handle. This has an interesting locking mechanism where you push this lever forward with your thumb to lift that really strong back spring out of a notch on the back of the blade that allows you to close the knife. Yeah, maybe this has a really stiff pivot. This knife makes some people nervous on the closure. I can see why. There we go. So there is the Kudaman Vendetta style knife from Spain. Man, how many different countries do we have represented here from knives? Okay, here's the Pioneer, made by Victorinox in Switzerland. One of the classic basic Swiss Army knives. Pet jokes are funny. The right time to wear a striped sweater because it was a chili dog. Hey! Every time you put your car in reverse, I think this takes me back. Every time I pick up the universal remote, I think this changes everything. So we have our traditional Swiss Army knife blade. We have a reamer, or an awl, that you can actually use to bore holes in things. With surprising precision, you can make very nice, neat, round holes with this. And then we also have a combination bottle opener and flathead screwdriver. And a combination small flathead screwdriver, which you can also use for Phillips screws because of the way it's shaped. And that is also your can opener. So, representing Switzerland and the famous Swiss Army knife, that is the Victorinox Pioneer X. And then finally, representing the home team, representing the United States of America, we have two classic American-made knives, the first being the Sodbuster, which I believe originated in the 1920s and 30s. It might even be an older pattern than that. Just a simple slip joint with an upswept, maybe sort of clip point style blade. That's been around for a long, long time. That is an old traditional knife pattern used by farmers. That one was like a multi-tool, yes. Watched Interstellar for the first time earlier today. Now you understand the praise. Yes, that is an amazing movie. If you enjoyed Interstellar, you will probably also enjoy Project Hail Mary. A friend of mine said he doesn't understand cloning. You said, that makes two of us. And finally, if the Swiss Army knife represents, well, Switzerland, The Okapi represent South Africa. The Opinel and the Duke Duke represent France. The Antonini we have representing Italy, and the Mercator represents Germany. Here we have America's knife. Whoops. American ingenuity of knives, a plastic knife. Well, back then they called it hard rubber. Here is what is unquestionably, undeniably America's knife. The Buck 110 Folding Hunter. I have a bunch of knives representing a bunch of different countries in this box, but if we're going to pick one knife to represent the United States of America, it has to be this one. Buck started making these in 1964, and they have since sold, the last I heard, more than 15 million of them. This popularized the use of the lockback mechanism. A lot of people incorrectly think and say that Buck invented the lockback mechanism. As far as I know, this locking mechanism already existed in Germany and Japan, and in those places even predated the Buck 110 by about a century. This knife just made the use of the lockback mechanism popular in the United States. Heavy, heavy brass handle with ebony wood scales. Thick, chunky handle. This is a very heavy knife. It weighs about 8 ounces. Playing on it, Ryan Gosling looks great, and the story looks great. Yes, Ryan Gosling carries that movie fantastically well, and he's very, very funny too. And that's pretty much it. That's my international collection of knives. And you guys, those are just some of the knives that I have. I have so many more, it's not funny. I've collected many, many knives over the years. Decimus Maximus Meridius. Think you have one like that. Wouldn't be surprised. Anyone and everyone who collects knives absolutely should have one of these. Wonder if any of our European visitors returning home from the World Cup took any of these home with them. If they can get them through customs. They might only be able to have them shipped or something. Great set of knives. Thank you, thank you. Thinking, are there any standouts from this that I missed? I don't think so. If I had to pick one out of this that was my absolute favorite to actually carry and use, it would probably be one of the Cognets, just because they're so thin, they carry so easily, and yet functionally, they're fantastic. Because again, you have that fairly thin carbon steel blade that just slices like crazy. Great for cutting up cardboard boxes, cutting tape. Lovely. Believe your first ever knife was a Gerber. Oh yes. Somewhere I have one of the newer Gerber LSTs with a pocket clip that I actually really like to carry and use. I don't know where it is at the moment though. What's my least favorite? I don't know. Don't make me choose. I ought to just fill my pockets up with all of these knives and carry them all at the same time just to confuse people. Thank you. Your voice helped you through a panic attack. Oh gosh, are you all right there? It's getting hot in here. I'm going to turn the fan back on. I wanted to do one more demonstration of the BD jet lighter, and I forgot. Let's do the BD jet lighter one more time before I turn the fan back on. I'll try to do it closer up so it's easier to see. Flame. Wah. Oh, and now the camera's out of focus because of course it is. Hello, camera. Maybe we'll try that again in a little bit. Hope everything's all right there, Kaya. Let us know. Keep us posted on how you're doing. Caffeine. Kaya, hope everything's okay there. the jet lighter doing its jet thing. Kaya, we hope everything's all right there. What else can we talk about? Could talk about the battle rifle again. That's a cool lighter, yes. Out of all the lighters I have, that's probably my favorite one. Just because it's so unusual. A battle rifle. Whoops. All right. Very first video on my YouTube channel back in 2011 was of my Lego model of the battle rifle from Halo 3. Which, if you watched my recent-ish Halo 3 streams, I did a legendary playthrough. You probably saw me using this quite frequently. Best weapon in Halo 3, in my humble opinion. Built this back in 2011, and I still have it all these years later. There was just no need to disassemble it. I didn't really need the pieces for anything else. Oh my word, that video was 16 years ago this year. What am I doing with my life? Anyway, there is the Lego Halo 3 battle rifle. If you want to see all the features and what all it does, it'll be kind of hard to show on camera, especially in this lighting, but we do have a working bolt, a working trigger via Technic shock absorber, and a working safety that actually keeps the trigger from moving. And the magazine comes out, but I famously can't get the magazine out without breaking it. The fit's a little too tight. Is that custom made or was it a set? I made it myself because I had no social life and no friends. Nothing better to do. This is my own design. It's probably not to scale. It's probably a little bit smaller than how it would actually appear in game. But the overall shape is very accurate to the battle rifle. Again, if you saw my Halo 3 playthrough from weeks ago, the overall shape of it, I don't want to brag, it's just a fact. The overall shape of it is pretty dead on. And every enemy who got shot with this in that playthrough is just pretty dead. Had to take some nasty blankets up to be washed from your sister's room. Because of it, it took a while to get those nasty blankets. A bunch of fleas hatched out in the laundry room. Oh. Can be called off almost every day. Oh boy, hope everything turns out all right, bro. Got a strawberry lemonade today from a smoothie shop that was made with real strawberries and mixed up with an orange kiss Alani. And it was quite good, strong. That does sound good. Ooh. I do like those orange Alanis too. I haven't had one in a while. Next time I'm at the store, I ought to grab one. Calm voice, I didn't panic, so. Attack only lasted 3 minutes. Agreed, I hate fleas. Fleas are awful. Glad I could help. Always good to hear. The battle rifle, yes. So, we'll see if showing this on screen gets me in trouble with YouTube, even though it's clearly made out of Lego pieces. Hello. What's that, YouTube? Do you have a problem with a non-functioning pew-pew made out of Legos? Well, we'll see if that gets the stream demonetized or taken down altogether. Come on, stay against the wall. Yeah, fleas are awful. Make sure I'm caught up on chat here. Nearly blacked out from the panic, but they kept me grounded. Thank you. Glad to be of help. Dog had fleas really bad. Ran a comb through her fur to see if you could help with it. Came out absolutely caked in fleas, blood, and flea feces. Then girlfriend's apartment became flea infested. A guest brought their small dog with them and left a present behind. GF had 2 cats, so that's where a lot of them were. Wow. That's actually awful. I remember when our cat had fleas really bad years ago. Not Dusty, it was Ozo, the other cat we had a long time ago. Ozo just started acting strange, urinating in the middle of the kitchen floor, amongst some other stuff. And the fleas got into the carpet, so we had to have the carpet professionally sprayed to kill all the fleas. My brother and I had to give Ozo a flea bath with this expensive flea tonic that my mom bought. You were supposed to mix it in a bowl with some warm water, have your cat in the bathtub, and then pour the flea tonic out of the bowl down your cat's back. And the whole time we did that, Ozo just protested and made weird noises like, oh, and tried to claw us, tried to scratch us. And the amount of dead and dying fleas that just poured off of her and went down the drain was insane. It was hard to comprehend, and it's still hard to describe how many fleas were in the water. Water which was slightly red with blood, too. It was awful. I hate fleas so much, the flea meds don't even help anymore. Yeah. Moldy, chilly, and crappy coworkers are your future until you finally leave. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Time to play Skyrim to calm down. Yeah. Dogs got fleas one time, but they went away after some time, like a month or so. Must not have been the kind that last. Or they couldn't get a foothold. The environment they were in, thankfully, wasn't suitable for their survival. But anyway, as we poured more and more of that flea tonic on Ozo's back and the fleas just poured off of her down the drain, she put up less and less resistance. She eventually just stood there kind of stiffly, stopped trying to fight us, stopped trying to claw us. Because I think she realized as the fleas were just dying and literally falling off of her, she was starting to feel better. And eventually she let us get her out of the tub without clawing us. We dried her off with a ratty old beach towel. We did that outside. We wrapped her up in the beach towel like a cat burrito. A burrito, if you will. We took her outside and dried her off with this old beach towel that we were going to throw away anyway. We dried her off as best as we could. We laid the beach towel out in the sun, and it was covered, just absolutely covered with an unbelievable amount of dead and dying fleas. Just get below zero sometimes here, but it was summer, fall time, huh? So, long story short, Ozo felt much better and went back to her normal self. Started using the litter box again. Instead of just emptying her bladder in the middle of the kitchen floor like she was doing for some reason. Those fleas made her act all kinds of crazy. It was a weird time. Poor Ozo. But after we did what we did, used that expensive flea tonic. I don't remember how much my mom said it cost, but it wasn't cheap. But it worked. She was cured. Making sure I'm not missing anything in chat. All this talk of cats is making me wonder where Dusty is. All these knives laying on the floor, I probably don't need her to be in here just now. I'm going to disappear from view for a minute while I put all these knives back in the container. Still here. So, That's part of why we, for the most part, keep Dusty indoors. Don't want her getting fleas and going what Ozo went through, and obviously we don't want her bringing those fleas inside with her, so. Take care of your cats, people. Fleas suck for both you and your cat. Jeez, this is a lot of knives. Make good and sure the safety is on that stiletto before it goes back in the box. Too bad these non-Tuan knives are so hard to find in the United States now. I wish everybody could have one and see how beautiful and how fantastically well made they are. They're so hard to find. I think there's one site where you can buy them officially. One site that imports them from France. But last I saw, they were getting really expensive even there. So, sadly, hard to find knife. Just set these out of the way for now. Okay, now if Dusty comes clawing at the door, I will... No, not technically a face reveal. I've shown my face many, many times before. Fleas absolutely do bite humans. They just don't have enough hair for them to live comfortably with it, but they do bite. Jeez, that's a lot of knives. So, not technically a face reveal. I've shown my face on stream many times before. I just haven't done it in a while I haven't been feeling well. A few weeks ago, I was dealing with some bad stomach trouble. I started taking some stuff for stomach acid, or excess stomach acid finally, and started feeling much better. I was feeling better within a day or two after having trouble for the better part of 2, maybe 3 weeks. Heavy home infestations, yeah. Yes, fleas absolutely bite humans. All this talk of cats and stuff makes me want to see if Dusty's somewhere close by. I'm going to open the door for just a second. Well, she's out there where she can clearly see and hear me. Another random place where she likes to just hang out is underneath the dining room table, and that's where she is. I don't know if I'm going to get her to budge from there. Don't think I have enough knives. Well, I don't either. What a coincidence. Doggy sticker coats. Help control the fleas. One is a Burmese mountain Malamute mix, and the other is a German Shepherd Norwegian elk hound. Were you taking Prilosec omeprazole? It was omeprazole, yep. Anybody going through the same trouble I was going through? Yeah, omeprazole did wonders for me. Thick coats on animals absolutely reduce the number of fleas. Where is the dang height adjustment on this chair? My own chair, and I forget how to work it sometimes. So maybe Dusty will come back here and join me. I don't know. Hoping we get an appearance by Dusty now that I have the face cam. Checking back and making sure I didn't miss anything in chat. Apologies if anybody asked me a question and I missed it. Do consider asking it again. But yeah, it was omeprazole. It was really inexpensive, too. A 2-week supply of it was a whopping $5. Thought I just heard Dusty tripping at the door. Let me check. Yeah, she's here. Dusty, come on in. Come on in, say hi to all the nice people. Come here, come here, come here. Let's show everybody how cute you are. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Dusty. She doesn't like it when I hold her like a little baby like this. All right, you probably want to go on the bed, don't you? Let's put you on the bed over here. There you go. Don't knock any of my Zippos on the floor or I'll be very annoyed. No, you leave the Zippos alone. I tell her not to mess with the Zippos and she's already eyeballing the Zippos very suspiciously. Just dated your age on that comment. Find out that Mang has a secret torture room. No, I don't. I do that in the backyard. Dusty is like, put Khajiit down this instant. Yeah. She's a cute little ball of fluff. I think she's already annoyed with me. She's already pawing at the door to get back out. Maybe she just came back to say hi real quick. I'm coming. I'm coming. You already want back out? You just got here. All right, let's give you one more cute close-up. Yeah, she's getting irritated with me. Hey, come on, look over here. Oh, well. Okay. All right, if you want out, you want out. All right. There you go. Come back again. And she will. She'll probably be back in 5 minutes, pawing at the door, chirping at me again. Dusty as an Alfik. Khajiit has Zippos if you have coin. She knows when you're streaming. Oh yeah, she can hear me talking back here. She absolutely knows the sound of my voice. So she knows I'm up and awake and doing stuff. So oftentimes when she hears me talking, she'll come and paw at the door to get in. Sometimes she doesn't even want to be like petted or anything. She doesn't want to be showered with affection and attention. She just wants to hang out. Sometimes she'll just lay down on the floor next to my feet like this and just kind of look up at me and look up at what I'm doing. Other times she wants to be a little pain in the posterior and climb all over the shelves and knock stuff over. Even though I've yelled at her 1,000 times, she absolutely knows the meaning of no, 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 no. And I feel like she just does stuff out of spite at this point. Dusty jump scare. Contract stipulates that I must appear in every episode for at least 10 seconds. Precious little baby kitty. She's a little ball of fluff. She's put on a little bit of weight since we took her in. When we first got her, she weighed about 7.5 or 8 pounds. She weighs about 10 pounds now, which is apparently about the top end you want a cat her size to be. So if she starts getting a little too homely, a little too round, we might have to give her smaller food portions. Don't want her to get to be an unhealthy weight. V8. Unintentional rhyme that time. Wonder how many cat treats Dusty gets paid with. I do give her a couple of small helpings of Greenies, healthy indoor cat treats, daily. I give her a little bit in the morning and a little bit at night. Those are rich with fiber. She used to have the occasional hairball, and she would cough up some confusingly large hairballs. In the few months since I started giving her those Greenies cat treats with all that fiber in them, she hasn't had a single hairball. It hasn't happened again. So anybody has a cat with fairly long hair, and they're having trouble with hairballs, I recommend those greenies. Not a paid endorsement. Not a paid endorsement, that's just what happened. Can we talk about boomsticks on chat? I know YouTube might take issue with actual firearms, but they don't seem to care about air guns. Would you all be interested in seeing the air rifle? I've talked about dealing with a rat problem in my backyard before. You don't like your cat? Aw. Have short-haired cats. Okay. Well, if any of you have any cats having any kind of trouble with hairballs, check out those Greenies Healthy Indoor Treats. TikTok post of your notifications just sent you... Uh-oh, what did it send you? Is that a yes on the air rifle that I use? Okay. Gotta get it out of the closet. I have a bunch of air rifles. We won't go over all of them tonight or we'll be here all night long. Not quite as numerous as my knives. TikTok post on your notifications. I wouldn't know, I'm not on TikTok. Palpatine voice. Do it. Do it. All right. Here is the Gammo Whisper Fusion Mach 1. This is a simple break barrel single shot air rifle. It uses a nitro gas piston instead of a steel spring. The performance of a nitro gas piston can drop off in cold weather, but you can leave it cocked and ready to fire for a long time, unlike a steel spring. Over time, a steel spring can fatigue and lose some of its strength if you leave it cocked and ready to fire for too long. You can probably leave a steel spring like that for several hours without hurting it, but you don't want to leave it for like days. So, with a gas piston like this has, it's easier to shoot with accuracy. It's smoother, it doesn't vibrate like a spring does. But the trade-off is it's not quite as powerful as a good old-fashioned steel spring. To find Uncle Charlie. Technically, any resort is a nudist resort. Depends on the location for how long it's a nudist resort. To find Uncle Charlie's keys. So, anyway, many a rat in my backyard has fallen to this beauty. Fires a .22 caliber 14.5 green pellet at about 900, maybe 950 feet per second. If you use lighter weight alloy pellets instead of lead pellets, you can get more like 1100 feet per second, but in my experience, alloy pellets are too fast and too light, and they're not made consistently well enough for good accuracy. So a good old-fashioned lead pellet is where it's at. Oh, don't ask you, ask TikTok. So anyway, anyone dealing with the occasional rat problem, I highly recommend this. Again, YouTube bots, YouTube moderation. This is not a firearm. This is an air rifle. Anyway, we'll put this away before the YouTube bots come down on me and put me in YouTube jail. That's just one of several air rifles that I have. When it isn't the blazing hot summer, when it's spring or fall, the humidity's down, the temperature's down, I'm in the backyard doing quite a bit of target practice with those. On a good day, where my shooting table is nice and stable and I actually remember to make sure the table has a good footing so it doesn't wobble, and my hold is consistent, I can hit that little V8 logo on one of these cans from, no joke, about 30 yards away, about 90 feet. I can aim for and hit that little tiny round V8 logo. It's about as big around as a dime. And the rat gets lead poisoning. Username is just a bunch of numbers. These are just really advanced rubber band shooters. All right, good night, Mystery. Thank you for being here. Again, sorry for the lack of gameplay. My game capture software and my capture card are just not wanting to cooperate tonight, so I hope to get the bugs worked out of the system, but until then, I thought we'd do a just chatting stream tonight. What I was planning to do a stream like this eventually, I just wasn't planning on tonight being the night we did it. Oh well, here we are. What about those firearms channels that specifically make videos of guns? They're allowed to put that content on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't collect doesn't let them collect ad revenue, and yet you can bet YouTube is keeping all the ad revenue for themselves. Yeah. Very accurate with that Pennsylvania statement. Got to watch out for people with binoculars or drones. What's the range of that? I've heard it's effective as far as 50 yards away. My yard isn't quite big enough for me to test that, though. At my absolute widest, my yard's about 35, maybe 40 yards. I would like to try it at 50 yards sometimes. The farthest away I've shot a rat is about 24 yards, about 72 feet, which for a conventional firearm is not really that far. For an air gun, that's really reaching out there, though. That's a reasonably long distance shot for a simple air gun, and you're shooting at a little small rodent. You're trying to hit a very, very small target from very far away. It takes a lot of practice, and you have to develop a consistent hold to make sure your shots group well. And then if you know you have a rat problem, it's a lot of sitting there and waiting. You load up the rifle, you put on the safety, and then you sit there and you wait. And you wait. And you wait. And you wait some more. And you wait some more. Sometimes the rat doesn't show up and you feel like you sat there for hours for nothing. And then other times, he does show up and it's the last mistake he ever makes. I wonder what else I have handy that we can talk about. People weird there. People are weird everywhere. Including here in Florida, my old home state. This is a wacky, weird state. Do you press shift and hold your breath while shooting like in Call of Duty games? I do find myself actually legit holding my breath in real life to make a more accurate shot. Oklahoma has some nutcases. Well, yeah. There's nothing to do out there on the prairie except run away screaming when you see a tornado. Oklahoma, where the winds go sweeping through the plains or down the plains. Now I hear Philip Seymour Hoffman turning on Deep Purple and yelling, "It's the wonder of nature, baby!" 95% of Pennsylvania is woodlands, slate mountains, Smith hot dogs, and $7.25 minimum wage. Wow. What else can we talk about while I'm sitting here? Wow, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. Hey, this is going to be comparable in length to a regular gaming stream. We're just sitting here talking. I'm having a good time. I hope you guys are too. Oh no, in Oklahoma, people watch tornadoes. Oh yeah. And then when you leave Oklahoma, another certain Starset song plays. That's all I know. I'm done running toward the eyes of tornadoes. Let's talk about fire. So California, at any given time of the year, California is always on fire anymore. But always remember, we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't light it, but we're trying to fight it. Talon went to Titusville for sure. Isn't Oklahoma where the first Twister movie was made? Yeah. A lot of it was filmed on location in Oklahoma. I do know the town of Waukeeta is a real place. And I believe at least once in its history it actually has been hit by a powerful tornado. So they didn't change the name of the town or make up some fictional town. It's a real town in Oklahoma. And they just filmed it as it was for the movie, including my favorite shot, well, one of my favorite shots in the whole movie, where I assume a helicopter at the time, drones weren't a thing yet. The helicopter takes that nice overhead sweeping shot of the Waukeeta water tower as that Van Halen guitar chord hits you just right, hits you right in your soul. One of your Skyrim characters is an Argonian named Respect the Wind. Ah, again, shout out to Van Halen. And I happen to know the name Waukeeta comes from, I believe, the mispronunciation of a Native American Indian chief whose name was Waukeeta or something like that. And when settlers came in and founded a town, they named the region and eventually the town after him, Waukeeta. The more tornado you actually live through. Wow! One of the worst tornadoes in U.S. history. The one that hit Joplin in Missouri back in, I believe, 2011 was really awful too. There is an absolutely terrifying video you can watch of the Joplin tornado. There's these people from Australia, of all places, who came stateside to storm chase. They don't have tornadoes to the same degree in Australia that we do here in the United States. So they came here as part of a tornado tour group. They're in the car driving right through Joplin. They're looking west, and they just see this wall of dark clouds blocking up the western horizon. And none of them realized, at least not right away, that the wall of darkness they were looking at was the tornado. And right as they get out of the traffic and get out of town, they realize what they're looking at is a massive dark funnel that's confusingly huge. Right after they got out of town, it went through the town behind them and destroyed a large portion of Joplin. A lot of people died. No one has tornadoes like the U.S. does. Not to the same degree, not the same amount that we have here. Funnily enough, surprisingly enough, I don't point and laugh at, funnily enough, the tornado. Surprisingly enough, the deadliest tornado in history did not happen in the United States. It happened in Bangladesh, of all places. The Joplin one wasn't a mile wide. It was, for much of its life, I believe, ever so briefly as it was tearing up Joplin, it widened to 1.25 miles. Darude sandstorm. Imagine hearing that play as a tornado hits your town. That would actually be kind of cool. Flipping ads. Oh. Even if This content's like demonetized. YouTube still puts a crap ton of ads on it, and it's super annoying. But depending on what report you read, the deadliest tornado in history happened in Bangladesh. Welcome back, Sinister. We're talking about tornadoes now. The deadliest tornado in history happened in Bangladesh, and I believe about 1,300 people died, depending on who you ask, what source you're reading from. The deadliest tornado in United States history was the Tri-State tornado. Crossed the corners of 3 states. I want to say it was Illinois, Iowa, and Indiana. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong about which 3 states it affected. But it tracked for an incredibly long distance, lasted about 3.5 hours, and almost 700 people died in that one. That happened in 1925, 101 years ago this year. So if you want some interesting but terrifying reading, do some reading up on the Tri-State tornado. Thank you everyone who has tuned in tonight. Again, I apologize for the lack of gameplay. But again, gotta get the bugs worked out of the system, find out what's wrong with my capture card and capture software. Southeast Missouri, where you live, gets tornadoes pretty often. Yeah. Yep, part of Tornado Alley. An underappreciated tornado hotspot outside of Tornado Alley is the northern part of Mississippi and Alabama, and sometimes even further south of there, getting questionably close to my stomping ground, the Florida Panhandle. Whew. Tornado season was very lax this year. Yeah, which is a good thing. I'm sure storm chasers were bored, but people who actually live in Tornado Alley, I'm sure very much appreciated the lull in activity this year. Getting into July and August, tornado activity shifts a little bit more south, again toward my stomping ground. So in the coming weeks, maybe Mississippi, Alabama, and possibly my neck of the woods, the Florida Panhandle, are about to get it. We'll see what happens. My old job, under the assembly bay where we worked, there was this tornado shelter very, very deep underground and underneath the assembly bay, where when you went in there, you were surrounded by quite a bit of thick steel and concrete in every single direction. You were super well protected. Even the most powerful tornado wouldn't be able to touch you down there. It was deep under a pit where they flew cranes over to load things onto train cars. And it was far back underneath the bay. You didn't just go down into this pit, down the stairs, and in through a door. It was through several doorways, deep underneath ground, under the ground once you got down there. Hello, Spamuel. Sorry for the lack of gameplay tonight, but capture card and software are acting screwy, so we're doing a simple just chatting stream tonight, talking about tornadoes, talking about knives, talking about lighters at one point. Did Scats come out of the kennel yet? You know Bigfoot people, you're one of them. Yeah, Bigfoot saw me and nobody believes them. Storm chasers are finding Bigfoot in their spare time. Ugh. Hate Pittsburgh as much as you hate NYC. Talking about everything. Had a few tornadoes last year when you were in North Dakota. Someone who's never seen one, it was interesting. Yeah, another famously deadly historical tornado happened in Fargo, North Dakota. That one was rated F5. Ted Fujita himself, the man, the myth, the legend who invented the Fujita scale, now called the Enhanced Fujita scale, was there to survey the damage, I believe, from the Fargo tornado. Or if not the damage from the tornado itself, he was directly responsible for a lot of gathering of photographic evidence. Sugar Honey Iced Tea Show got deleted from the game during one segment. Technically seen a tornado before. It was made of leaves. Ah, I've seen those. Only one I've ever seen was a skinny little water spout miles and miles away over the Gulf of Mexico. It was relatively clear, blue skies overhead where I was, but out over that hot Gulf water, there was a storm several miles out to sea. And underneath that storm cloud, I could just see what was, to me, a little tiny water spout on the horizon. 2011 was a crazy year for tornadoes. Yes, 2011 was famously the most active year to date. That was the year of the super outbreak and several smaller outbreaks that were absolutely terrible. That produced, what are some bad tornadoes that happened in 2011? One of them was the Joplin one, which I believe happened in May or June. In April, they had the now called super outbreak, which itself produced over 300 tornadoes as that wave of storms just swept across the country. That was a crazy, crazy day. I was always annoyed watching the Nostalgia Critics review of the movie Twister, where he comments on the few tornadoes that happen in the movie. And I was like, how many tornadoes can happen in one day? This just doesn't happen. And I'm like, have you not heard of the 2011 super outbreak? Under the right conditions, over 300 tornadoes can happen in one day. Expecting the end of the world in 2012. Nah, I expect it any day now, the way things are going. If I look outside and see the world starting to end, I'm just going to put out a lawn chair, pop a bag of popcorn, and sit down and just watch the world end while I eat popcorn. I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to try to get to a bunker. Because what's the point if the world's ending? I'm just going to sit back and watch it happen. Front row seat for the end of the world. Again, I'm backtracking through chat a little bit to make sure I didn't miss any questions from anyone. Literally the Michael Jackson popcorn meme, yeah. Passed into a mirror dimension back in 2012, hence the Mandela effect. If I live to see the end of the world, I'm just going to play Best Day Ever from SpongeBob. The way things are going, maybe I'll be relieved that the apocalypse is starting and I'll play Sweet, Sweet Victory. Making sure I didn't miss anyone's questions in chat. What's the saying, mine? Just sit back and accept your fate. Then you had a kid and it's like, I guess I'll try to survive an apocalypse. Okay, fair enough. Maybe I would make sure Dusty was well sheltered and at least had a fighting chance. Here you go, Dusty. If I don't survive, you're in charge. I'll join you, Sinister. Again, I have a playlist of songs to listen to as the world is ending right here on YouTube. Plugging my own playlists instead of videos. Remember to like and subscribe. No. Yeah, check out that playlist of Starset songs. I think I have a playlist of my favorite John Denver songs. No camping trip is complete without John Denver. All transverse engine front-wheel drive cars use the same system that Fiat created back in 1964. I think I knew that. Do-do-do-do. Again, everyone, sorry there's no gameplay tonight, but hopefully I'll get the bugs worked out of the system. At least the microphone's behaving tonight. Everything else broke, but the microphone decided it wasn't going to give me any trouble tonight. What else can we talk about? As terrifying as tornadoes are, I was enjoying talking about tornadoes. Talking about terrifying tornadoes. Say that 5 times really fast. Splattering silly squashy spiders. Did you know that Left 4 Dead is polluted and it's all Nicholas's fault? Well, I know now. What else do I have handy that we can talk about? Lego stuff. Here's another Lego thing I made. So, from a company called Rockler, you can buy this kit for a Bluetooth speaker that you're supposed to incorporate into a woodworking project. And my folks gave me one of those Bluetooth speaker kits for Christmas years ago, and I took one look at it and said, that's not going into a woodworking project. That's going to be my next Lego project. So here is a Lego housing for my Rockler Bluetooth speaker. Red and gray and checkered on top. I don't want to turn it on right now because it's going to connect to my phone. You can see we have studless tiles on top, Lego plates on bottom. That's one of my favorite things I've ever made out of Lego. Sound quality is actually surprisingly not bad. When I first assembled this, the speakers would vibrate against the hard Lego plastic bricks. And it would create this, it would generate this ugly fluttering sound. So I stretched a rubber band around the edges, the inside edges of each of the speakers, and put them in there as kind of a cushioning or insulation or whatever. And that completely took out the vibration, and now the sound quality from this is surprisingly good. Thank you, thank you. Did you skip the gameplay, Spamuel? Let's talk about whales. Whale, whale, whale. There, we talked about whales. Hey! I know sperm whales dive to terrifyingly deep depths so they can eat giant squid. Back before whale hunting was outlawed, sailors who've, well, caught and unalive those whales would sometimes find the tentacles of very large squid inside the whale's stomachs. So who knows what goes on in the dark depths of the oceans here on Earth. It's actually terrifying to think about. Want to make your own guitar pickup one of these days? Do it. I remember a guy from your high school who always carried around a Bluetooth speaker in the hallways, claimed he was a rapper, but he was apparently terrible. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Cheesify. I like the name Cheesify. In general, I just really like cheese. What's the weirdest thing you saw in high school? I was homeschooled, so my stories don't count. I was homeschooled, I got up and saw my reflection in the bathroom mirror, and I said, wow, that guy looks weird. So, that was the weirdest thing I saw in high school. The Kraken is real, so you agree. Ah. That video I posted a few weeks ago of Dusty pawing at my door to get in here and meowing was with this trail camera. It's motion activated and starts recording automatically when something moves in front of it, so this would automatically record clips of Dusty pestering me at the door. Eventually, I did wake up and let Dusty into the room, but of course, the camera decided not to capture that exact moment on video. I wanted there to be a happy ending to the video where people could see the door crack open and watch Dusty go in. Get the conspiracy theories going. Megalodon, real or not? There is something at the bottom, there's no doubt. Well, I'll tell you, in the Sea of Cortez in Mexico, to this day, some fishermen claim to be stalked by a huge shark that's very dark in color, looks to be similar in shape to a great white shark, but it's not 15 or 20 feet long like a great white. They say it's longer than some of their small-ish boats. They claim it's something like 40 or 50 feet long, something straight out of your nightmares. And it stalks their boats, follows their boats. And it's dark in color. They call it El Demonio Negro, which in English means the Black Demon. Do some reading on the Black Demon shark. That's absolutely terrifying. Flat Earth theory, haha, too basic. Hollow Earth theory, now we're getting somewhere. Freshwater lakes at the bottom of the ocean, I did know that. Layers of salt water, where the salinity, or there is no salinity, a lack of salinity, I guess. Megalodon was in the Abadabadabadabadabad family, more closely related to mako sharks than great whites. Yes, you learned that recently. Well, whatever those fishermen down in Mexico claim is stalking them, they say the shape of it looks similar to a great white shark, but it's much darker in color. Absolutely terrifying. And again, they call it the Black Demon. They call it the Black Demon. Ugh. The ocean is terrifying. I was never a big fan of being in the ocean. I like reading about it and watching documentaries about it. I don't do much TV watching anymore, but what little TV watching I do is usually nature documentary type stuff or reruns of Mythbusters. They found Nessie's cousin. Oh, Jessie? Bessie? Could never go out in the open ocean on a small craft. Same. Alligators are older than dinosaurs. And my grandmother on my mom's side was older than all of them. Ha ha, what? Even more reason for me to stay away from the nope water. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be a giant shark straight out of your nightmares. Just an almost invisible box jellyfish can kill you. Nessie, Jessie, and Bessie. Only been to the ocean once, you swam in the Gulf. Ah, the Earth is older than the dinosaurs. No kidding. I have a feeling if dinosaurs predated Earth, they'd be a little bit screwed just floating in space. But like Bethesda spawned them in the wrong order or something. Right here in the United States, we supposedly have our own lake monsters, and up in Canada, too. Lake Champlain, up north, they supposedly have a serpentine lake monster that they call Champ. Then up in Canada, there's Lake Okanagan, where they have a cryptid, supposed cryptid that they call the Ogopogo. Reading about cryptids absolutely fascinated me in my teens, and I guess it still does today. I'm skeptical of Bigfoot, but I say let's not decide conclusively until we have thoroughly explored every inch of forest to know for sure. Champy is just a Nessie ripoff, 0 out of 10. Then, Chesapeake Bay. Chesapeake Bay, there was supposedly a serpentine-like creature that they started calling Chessie in reference to Nessie. So there you go, there's another Nessie ripoff even in name. Chesapeake Bay's Chessie. A title of a newspaper headline I saw said, Chesapeake's Chessie matches Nessie. If we imagine Earth and a human's lifespan, humanity has only been around for like 3 or 4 seconds. Wow. Pirates are still a thing. Passenger cruise ships avoid all sailing in waters with pirates, or at least get an escort. They are also equipped with sound guns for dealing with pirates. Oh yes, I know a lot of ships avoid the coast of Somalia for that very reason. I remember Brian Regan talking about that. Brian Regan said there was a spokesperson for the pirates on the news. A spokesperson for the pirates. Brian Regan wondered how that speech went. All right, I don't have time for questions. I just have this statement for you directly from the pirates. Arr! Norse mythology, yeah. You would think that pirates were a 1767 thing. Brian Regan said as much. Brian Regan said, I thought pirates died out like 400 years ago. Apparently not. Boy, another reason to avoid the ocean. If the people on the surface don't kill you, the scary creatures underneath the surface will. Back to Lake Champlain. People claimed to be stalked by a serpentine or dinosaur-like creature on land at night in some rare instances. They said what looked like a large reptile with a long neck would be down in the reeds following them, watching them. This was in a time before bright LED flashlights like we have now. Golly. All people had at the time this was supposedly going on were old school incandescent flashlights. So they couldn't shine a flashlight at it and illuminate the creature. They could only see a pair of luminous, reflective eyes shining back at them. Creepy stuff. Norse mythology phase in high school that died out shortly after, though. Yo ho ho, thy taxes shall be paid in 15 bottles of rum, or the equivalent pieces of 8. Certainly not nearly as cool as old pirates. They may have guns, but they use lame dinghies now. Yeah, dinghies and AK-47s are cheap copies of AK-47s. Whatever ammunition they can scrape together. Try to hook onto the side of merchant vessels with a ladder. Get a ladder over the handrail. Pirates of some criminal ring where the company sends out proxies to attack their own ships and get the insurance claim. Wow! That's scummy. That's slimy. Years ago, when my dad and I were camping at Hurricane Lake, we were walking on some of the dirt trails around the lake late at night. My dad shined his flashlight up between the tops of 2 fairly tall trees standing side by side and said between the tops of 2 trees he saw a pair of red eyes reflecting back at him for a second. And he tried to point it out, but by the time I spun around and shined my light that way, whatever it was gone. So whatever would be reflecting at the tops of 2 trees was no longer there. My first thought was there was another tree behind those 2, and there was an owl sitting on a branch or something. Otherwise, we were being followed by a skinwalker or a wendigo. Pirates have always been a problem in that region. It was actually why the U.S. Navy was formed. Why pirates think it's a good idea to attack Navy ships, I will never understand. Maybe they just have a death wish, I don't know. Possums have red eyes. Yeah. Spooky stuff, though. It was so high up, though, and it was apparently gone in a second, so my first guess was an owl that quickly flew away or something. I think some species of owl's eyes reflect kind of a reddish or reddish yellowish, something like that. Coast Guard does what their name says. Navy was formed because some of the founding fathers said, "Find Uncle Charlie's keys, these Barbary pirates. We ain't paying their tribute." So, I'm big into EDC, that's everyday carry. Always have a knife and or multi-tool on you wherever you go. And always carry a flashlight. This is one of a couple of different flashlights I carry. If you're someplace where the power goes out for whatever reason, you could just be the person who saves the day if you're the only person with a flashlight. I believe I know what the Mothman was. Look Up a picture of a Stygian owl. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Falling asleep, going to have this on in the background and listen. All right, good night, Brooke. Thank you for being here. Rest well. I would greatly enjoy being your background noise. But yeah, people, you never know what's out there in the dark, so always carry a flashlight, even if it's just a little small, like AAA powered keychain flashlight. A small flashlight is better than no flashlight. You don't know who or what is out there in the dark. Being scared of the dark never made much sense to me. It's not the dark that kills you, it's who or what's in it. Following on your last comment, the U.S.'s longest-standing diplomatic treaty was struck with one of the former Barbary states. Wow. We negotiated with pirates! Where is that little tiny flashlight I sometimes keep on me? Okay. Carry your trait pocket, sun, and black hole wherever you go, yes. People, even if all you can manage is a small flashlight again, that's still better than no flashlight. This is a little tiny AAA flashlight with a tail click switch. Made by a company called Lumentop. This one's called the Tool AAA. See if I can get the camera to focus on that. There we go. Again, not a paid endorsement. This is a little tiny flashlight that just uses a single AAA. I actually have, in this one, a AAA with a USB-C charging port built right into the battery. Everybody and their neighbor has a USB-C charger today, so with that battery, you can technically charge up this light anywhere and everywhere you go. Heard of a cryptid called the Ozark Howler? That's one we have here in Missouri. I've heard of it now. I might do some reading up on that. That treaty was made after we kicked the pirates' donkeys and they wanted to make nice. Ha ha ha. So anyway, there you go. Lumentop 2.0 AAA. This is not a very expensive flashlight. It doesn't cost very much. You can get it on Amazon. It uses a commonly found AAA battery. Use a rechargeable AAA battery or a disposable lithium. Do not use alkaline batteries. Alkaline batteries leak. They ruin your flashlights. They ruin your TV remotes. Stop buying them. Stop using them, and I'll stop pointing at you, and I'll stop telling you to stop. So stop it. Fireworks going off right now. Wow. Where are you that there's fireworks going off this late at night? PC is making car engine noises. You have a chupacabra story. Do tell, do tell. So anyway, that is a little tiny flashlight that literally anybody could carry on their person. It has different brightness levels. It's pretty bright for how small it is. Once it's on, you do a partial press of the switch and you can step through the different brightness settings. You have a really low setting, really high setting, and then a kind of a medium setting. That is a handy dandy little flashlight. To light up the Space Shuttle Discovery with it. That's pretty bright for how small it is. Literally anybody could carry this flashlight on their person and forget they even had it on them until it was needed. It was aliens. No alkaline, got it. Preach. Probably a baseball game of the World Cup. Oh, the fireworks, yes. Do tell that chupacabra story. It's 11 p.m. there. It's a little after 1 o'clock here. Been streaming for almost 3 hours, just sitting here talking. This has been fun. Hope everyone's having a good time just hanging out and chatting. Oh yeah, not a paid endorsement. The Lumentop 20 AAA. Good little tiny flashlight to keep on your person. Sounds like a mix of a wolf howl, elk bugle, and hyena laugh. Ow! Said to have a build similar to a bear and has long, shaggy fur. It has antelope-like antlers, glowing red eyes, and is said to have a howl that sounds like a mix of a wolf howl, elk bugle, and hyena laugh. In a Tim Curry voice, it can shine into the one place democracy can't reach, space. People tend to celebrate 4th of July a week for some reason. Yeah. We should just call it the first week of July at this point. Forgot what the cryptid's name was, but there was a cryptid that was just a regular dog that ate axe handles. Legitimately the funniest cryptid you ever read about. Next week is going to be insane. Yep, the big old 250 for America. Anyway, this other one is the Olight Baton 4 Pro. You can use Olight's proprietary magnetic charger on the tail, or this part of the tail untwists and you have a USB-C charging port there. Again, not a paid endorsement. That's just another slightly larger but very, very powerful flashlight that anybody can carry. Just about anybody. I'm sure some people will look at this flashlight and be, it's too big, I can't carry that. Oh, you pansy. Moon is really bright tonight in your room right now. It's pretty. 4th of July is a contender for your least favorite holiday. I feel like your problem would be with like the people, the rowdy drunk people, and they keep lighting fireworks until the late hours of the night. Stigma outside of the fire station. Stigma. Where did I read the word stigma? Signs outside of the fire stations. Don't know why I said outside, so I ignore the first sign. Ignore me saying the word stigma. I don't know where I got the word stigma. Cool Legos. Thank you. Update on the wild dogs near me. Apparently they are owned by some tree hugger who is doing a crappy job of taking care of them. Source is one of your neighbors who buys eggs from your family. Ah. Outside one night getting something from the garage. Heard rustling in between the fences and the neighbor's dog bark aggressively for the first time. And then a growl that was not from a dog. Chupacabra. Problem is Missouri's humidity combined with the heat and constant mosquitoes. Yeah. My problem is the rowdy people. People are getting drunk and then trying to drive themselves home, and they're partying all night, lighting loud, obnoxious fireworks until like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, come on, we just want to sleep. Apparently they were chased by these dogs after they jumped the fence where they were walking past. Fireworks are illegal, but people don't care. Sounds very appropriate. Seems like we haven't changed a bit since the beginning. We like to party. Sorry to get that song stuck in everybody's head, if you can call that a song. Growls sounded deep and mean from a predator. It ran away from the neighbor's dog and went somewhere. Closed up the garage, and while walking back to the house, felt like you were being watched. Regretting that nap, and now you can't really fall asleep. Well, listening to me talk famously puts people to sleep. I start talking about radios and frequencies and radio channels and people. That's another thing I could yakety yak about all night long. I am a licensed holder. I'm a holder of a GMRS radio license. Blah, blah, blah. GMRSs are just essentially the more powerful counterparts to the license-free FRS, that is, Family Radio Service walkie-talkies you can buy at Walmart. For whatever reason, anything above a certain wattage you have to have a license for, according to the FCC. And yet, if anybody uses those radios without a license, the FCC doesn't seem to care. They only care if you're intentionally jamming frequencies and or saying threatening or disrupting things over the public airwaves. Giving up on falling asleep right now. Too interested. Compilation of Inigo talking to followers. Yeah. I made one super long one of all those clips. Glad they could be of help. What do you do with it? It's just something I have on standby in case it comes in handy if my family and I are camping someplace without a cell signal or something. It's very much like a regular walkie-talkie, but a lot more powerful. You get better range and better clarity. It's easier for people to hear you over whatever distance you're talking. Have to work at 8 tomorrow. Oh, boy. Okay, I have one of my GMRS radios handy right here. This is a Baofeng UV5G Plus. I think this cost me a whopping $27 or $28. Has built-in Type-C charging. Whoops. Charging port built right into the battery. You can monitor 2 different channels at the same time, and at the risk of possibly getting a copyright strike, you can listen to FM radio.
Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are
okay. They're in a commercial break right now.
To be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, no.
Morgan & Morgan. And the booms aren't really helping. That's your chupacabra story. Didn't see anything, but it was a growl you haven't heard before. It was likely a coyote. Sometimes they wander into suburbia to eat people's small, annoying dogs. Yeah, the ones that I don't consider to be real proper dogs. And rumor has it the chupacabra is something along the lines of like a mutated coyote or dog or something. With mange, it supposedly has little to no hair. Especially working so early, the booms aren't helping. Yeah. Hope you're able to get to sleep, get some good, meaningful rest. So anyway, this trail camera that I used to capture that infrared night vision video of Dusty outside my door, this is normally what I use to monitor for rat activity in the backyard. I also have a cheap security camera from Amazon that connects to the Wi-Fi. I take my rat slaying, I gotta word it carefully on YouTube, I take my rat unaliving very seriously. Rats, left unmonitored, can do a ton of damage. The invasive brown rats, which these are not part of the natural ecosystem and are therefore not protected by federal law, so unalive as many of them as you need to. They are believed to have originated from Mongolia and northern China and eventually spread up all over the world and eventually came to America on ships from Europe. The people who created the story probably just saw a mangy coyote out in the desert and got spooked. Rat extermination, yes. In general, air guns were a hobby of mine for several years. But then the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I got into it a little bit more seriously and started really practicing shooting with accuracy at long distance with proper air rifles. I messed around with a variety of air rifles and air pistols, but main focus is on air rifles. I practiced on tight grouping and being able to hit things much, much smaller than a rat at distance. So again, on a good day, at 30 yards away, I can hit that V8 logo, that little dime-sized V8 logo when I can. Saturn V or just a shuttle, and the included Hubble Space Telescope model that came with it. I'll show that on camera real quick again. There's the Space Shuttle Discovery and the Hubble Telescope model. Before they became too expensive, Lego stuff was another hobby of mine. Still is somewhat, but not to the same extent it was years ago. Lego's prices used to be a little more reasonable, but not as much in more recent times, sadly. YouTube can't flag that because it's technically an occupation. A lot of cryptid stories started as hazing rituals by old-timey woodsmen, you know, just that screwing with the younger guys. Yeah, kind of the same as telling kids scary stories around the campfire today. I could try to tell the one about the guy with the hook on the handle of the car door, and everyone's heard it. Yeah, it was and then the hook was hanging on the thing, and he saw the guy in the rearview mirror. Whatever. Has your back been doing all right? It's been doing better lately. On the rare occasion I do sit in the gaming chair, I keep a fairly thick, robust pillow behind my back, and I seem to do better. I've been trying to be extra careful not to lean over for stuff. Again, for those of you who don't know, my back is fused from the top of my shoulder blades all the way down to my pelvic bone, and it's reinforced with metal rods and hooks and screws, and so technically I'm like 1/8 cyborg, I guess. All right, Valen, thank you for being here with us tonight. Rest fantastically well. Hope a just chatting stream has still been interesting to listen to. Again, everyone, I apologize for the lack of gameplay, but it is what it is. Technology hates me. Rest well, Valen. Make sure I'm not missing any questions on chat. Jealous that you're able to talk for so long. My voice is kind of weak due to how quiet I am. If I talk at too high a volume for too long, I'll talk myself hoarse. And my voice will start to croak and I'll start to sound like this. Oh. Or if my voice gets really shot, I sound like Master Chief from Halo. That I'm okay with. I'll mess with people. I need a weapon. Can't do it now. Currently in Anselvan burial chambers with the squad, Inigo, Lucian, Caden, and Eric. Have you gone through here this current playthrough? I don't remember if I've been through there this playthrough or not. I need to see if there's a quest connected to that. Both your grandma's knees are made of metal. Nice. Airports hate to see me coming. Think her arm is partially metal too. Yeah, I'm also a potential lightning rod during bad weather, so if you ever meet me in person, don't stand close to me during a thunderstorm. Ooh. Yeah, thank you everyone who has stuck around for such a different stream. Just sitting around and talking with all of you for 3 hours has been super fun. If I can't get my electronic crap working, we might end up doing this again tomorrow night if everyone's cool with that. Let's just hang out and talk. Making sure I didn't miss anyone's questions in chat. I'm scrolling back through chat a little bit. Funny how you just got done telling your chupacabra story and your dogs go crazy chasing and borking at something. Same spot where you heard the growl and it was heavy enough to rustle some branches. Oh boy. Didn't know you game, just saw the Legos and clicked. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, normally we're streaming Skyrim with a little bit of Halo mixed in. I tried doing the old Star Wars Battlefront games from years ago. When did I do that? Maybe a month or two ago I tried streaming the older Star Wars Battlefront games. Apparently those are a copyright nightmare to wade through because of all the John Williams musical score. Whoops. Stick around if you like Skyrim and dad jokes, Andrew. Yeah. Valen, who was just in chat earlier but signed off for the night. Sometimes Valen, I know on her channel, will stream Skyrim, so... Star Wars, yes. Fun to do and different and interesting. Wonderful, wonderful. The PS2 ones? No, the original Xbox ones. I'm a filthy Xbox peasant. Everybody point and laugh at the console peasant. Here he is. Ha ha. Just turn off the music. Oh yeah, I know now. Battlefront 2 was a blast back in the day, yes. Watch out for those wrist rockets. Super battle droids, take them down! Just had a hiccup. Replaying Skyrim for the 900th time on your PS5, yes. Probably a rabbit, skunk, possum, or a cat. Could have been a hellhound. House cat is very mean to your doggies and will attack them for no reason other than they exist. So they really don't like cats. I'd watch you play Battlefront. Yeah, I might do it again sometime, but yeah, as you suggested, turn the music off. Welcome to the Sweet Roll Army, Andrew. Welcome aboard. You're one of us now. This is not negotiable. Just like the simulations. I want those rebels dead. We won! Yeah! As someone who plays on a Series X, I can't make fun of you. Ha ha ha. More fun to laugh at a furry like Skets than a console peasant like you. And then I might also stream Ace Combat sometime. We'll see about that. Laugh at the furry in denial. Never played Battlefront, so you don't understand what you guys just said. Script from the game. I've got a blaster with your name on it. Lay down your arms and be annihilated. Non-negotiable, you got a sub. Yes, you do. Huh. Whee. Again, I'm backtracking a little bit, making sure I didn't miss anyone's questions. In hindsight, I probably should have gotten that model of the Saturn V rocket. Oh well. Battlefront is like Battlefield, but in Star Wars, yes. Well, the more recent ones by EA. Boo! I played the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2 from 2004 and 2005. That's the days of the original Xbox. Of course, those were ported to be compatible to the Xbox 360. That's how we played them. Not the biggest Star Wars fan, but the newer ones with Cal were fun games. Kit Fisto is broken in the port. Better head back to the stables. It's like 3 hours past your stable time. Must be that Alani lemonade keeping you awake, or the 5 liters of skooma. All right, Westwell Horston, and thank you for being here. Hashtag give us Battlefronts. Friend dropped his Saturn V like a day after he built it. Oh no! Shocker, EA gets a game wrong. What a surprise. Still have the original Xbox. There have been times I've been tempted to track down an original Xbox. Maybe I might still do that. Favorite game to play was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Yeah, my cousin used to like those games. He really enjoyed them. My older brother used to play them on, I think they were on PC, were they? Maybe it was PS2. Peter Jackson King Kong game on the OG Xbox is one of your best childhood memories. Yep, a friend of mine had that. He really liked that game a lot. Ryzen 7 and 32 gigabyte RAM, but your Skyrim Anniversary Edition is lagging like crazy. Again, if you're not modding it to the point it's breaking, are you really playing Skyrim? Tao Fang and SSX Tricky. Playing vanilla this time. Oh, okay. Anniversary Edition 32-bit. I don't know. Wow, it is 1:30 in the morning here. Gee whiz. Well, maybe I should think about having my usual late night snack of scrambled eggs or black-eyed peas. I know, point and laugh at the guy who enjoys scrambled eggs and or black-eyed peas. Not together, one or the other. No, it's 64-bit. Okay. 64. All this is reminding me of that video where the kids are screaming about getting a Nintendo 64 for Christmas. And somebody made a humorously dark animation of it. So I'll leave you guys with that thought tonight. Look up a video called Nintendo 64! Classic Edition and Legendary Edition is 32-bit. Well, I have a thing where I want to beat Skyrim on every system. Did PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Wow! Kind of thought maybe it's a good thing that Skyrim wasn't fully complete because people adding these mods is what kept it alive 15 years later. Forget Florida has 2 time zones. Yep, I'm in the western part of Florida that confuses people and is not on Eastern time. Many people have come to that conclusion, but just realized it. I do wish at the very least Morthal was as complete as it was supposed to be. Math didn't add up for a second. New flavors of sparkling ice, orange cream, cherry cola, and root beer. I think the first 2 haven't tried the root beer yet. Yeah, Bum Energy makes a really good root beer flavored energy drink. You can get it at Walmart. They make a good cola one, and what was the other one? It was called Dr. Bum. It tastes like Dr. Pepper. I think I might be a caffeine junkie. I'm definitely a caffeine junkie. Best of all, not corn syrup and only 5 calories. Yeah. Not sure how many calories are in these little V8s. Okay, 50 calories. Whoops. Little bit of the naturally occurring sugar from the fruit juice used to make these. And sweetened with a little bit of sucralose. Some people are iffy on sucralose and say it doesn't agree with them, but oh well. More junkies for caffeine than any other drug. Probably. Anyone play the Oblivion remake? I didn't play it myself, but I knew that. I mean, you don't say. I don't even know if it's available to me on the Xbox One. I never did bother upgrading to the Series X. Beat the main story. Oblivion is pretty boring in humble opinion. Makes your least favorite of the Todd Howard, the Elder Scrolls games. I thought about playing Oblivion, but never did get around to it. Only Elder Scrolls games I've played so far have been Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online, which I did not enjoy nearly as much as Skyrim. Skyrim is one of the greatest games I've ever played, period. In my opinion, is one of the best games ever made, period. Elder Scrolls Online just seemed underwhelming by comparison. Setting is very generic compared to Morrowind and Skyrim. Have to wait until the remake gets put on Switch 2. I never played before. As a kid, you liked it more, but as an adult, I'd rather go back to Skyrim. And if I try to play any other Elder Scrolls game, I would just end up missing Inigo. Have medium hopes for the Fallout 3 remaster. Oblivion a lot, especially the DLCs. Wonder if any of the newer editions just come with all the DLCs included already. Probably. Whew. Well, you guys, it is getting pretty late here, and I'm getting pretty hungry, so I better think about getting my late-night snack of black-eyed peas or scrambled eggs, one of the two. I haven't decided yet. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. I missed Inigo a lot during Halo. Yeah, I wish Inigo could have somehow showed up and helped out in Halo. Imagine driving a Warthog and Inigo's your guy on the turret. You will not have to worry about being ugly ever again. Before he mows down a bunch of Covenant with the machine gun turret. Unintentional rhyme that time. Hee. Waiting for modders to remaster Fallout New Vegas and Call of Duty World at War, yeah. So I think I better wrap it up for the night, you guys. Again, I apologize for the lack of gameplay, but hopefully I'll get all the bugs sorted out of the system. Until then, we can certainly do more of these just chatting, just hanging out streams. Talk about whatever we want to talk about. So, hope tonight's stream was fun. I hope everyone enjoyed. Nuclear Sunset might be worth a look, huh? Yes, have a good night, everyone. Have an excellent Sunday and excellent rest of your weekend. Everyone rest fantastically well, and remember not to buy alkaline batteries. Alkaline, bad. Bad. And may the force be with you as well. Yes, good night, gamers. Good night, viewers. Good night. Should have went back to the stables like you said you were going to. It's all right. We're wrapping up for the night. Yes, good night, everyone. Thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. You guys are fun to talk to. Yes, this was nice. We've just been sitting around chatting for almost 3.5 hours. Love to just do a chat night once or twice a month. Yeah, I'll try to. I was planning on doing some of these once in a while anyway. I just wasn't planning on the first one being tonight. But had tech problems, so here we are. Could play Battlefront for a while. We are a lithium-only household. Or nickel metal hydride. Yes, this was a lot of fun, you guys. Thank you for being here for it. Thank you all for sticking around as long as you have. Let's do this again very, very soon. Remember to like and subscribe. Yes. I generally don't say that myself, but if you did, I wouldn't argue. You know, if you feel like it. And thank you. Thank you very much. Everyone, have a fantastic rest of your night. Didn't mean to almost slap you in the face. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your night. Take care. I now have to duck out of view so I can put my ending screen up. So, later. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night, everyone. Thank you for the sub, Andrew. Have a fantastic rest of your night, everybody. Hope to see you back here again really soon.